We have a proclamation and a plaque to be awarded by the proclamation I will read. It's the Matthew chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, and the plaque will be presented by the George Walton chapter, Sons of the American Revolution. As everyone knows, we're about to celebrate our 250th anniversary in July. So I'm going to ask the Matthew chapter and the George Walton chapter to please come forward and stand and face the crowd, and I'll read the proclamation. They're dressed in attire commensurate with our revolution, and we will start with that.
I'm so focused on numbers, I didn't realize it.
Talbot, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Thank y'all. All right, Proclamation America 250. Matthew Talbot, is that correct? Chapter, National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution. On July 4th, 2026, our nation will commemorate the semi-quincentennial anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And the journey toward this historic milestone is an opportunity to reflect on our nation's past, honor the contribution of all Americans, and look ahead to the future generations who will carry forward the ideals of democracy and individual liberty that make the United States a unique nation in the world community. And the great state of Georgia was founded by the Revolutionary War generation and their children. And as one of the first original 13 British colonies in America, established in 1733, by James Oglethorpe, and with Georgia patriots having fought 11 battles and skirmishes during the Revolution. And from the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party in 2023 until the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 2033, the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, being members lineally descended from patriots, and these American Revolutionary events will be promoting, honoring, and celebrating the history and birth of our nation by completing projects in unique, local, and impactful ways. And Matthew Talbot Daughters will be highlighting our nation's rich diversity by honoring the men and women who achieved American independence, as these patriots, believing the noble cause of liberty, fought valiantly to establish a new nation. And the Georgia State Society and the Matthew Talbot chapter Daughters of the American Revolution in Monroe, Georgia, have helped to promote America 250 within our state and in our local community, so as to better inform the general public about the events which led to the founding of our nation. So therefore, be it resolved that I, David G. Thompson, commend commemoration to all of our Walton County, Georgia residents. And I've signed that, and if you would come forward, I would be happy to give you the proclamation.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Jimmy Norton. I currently serve as the president of the George Walton chapter of the Sons of American Revolution. I'm joined here tonight with my other compatriots, Rusty Horton, past president Tom Chamberlain, and our past state president, Bill Dobbs. And much like our counterparts within the DAR, we involve ourselves in education, historic preservation, and we're tied to the founding principles of our nation. With that, our chapter would like to present this body with a small reminder of our semi-sesquicentennial, which reads as follows. If you'll allow me. In recognition of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the United States Declaration of Independence, we extend our sincere gratitude for your commitment to upholding the principles of our nation's Constitution. Your dedication to liberty, justice, and the rule of law reflects the values upon which America was founded. Your service honors the legacy of the American Revolution and strengthens our constitutional republic. Thank you for your leadership and your continued efforts to protect the freedoms that we cherish. Declared by the George Walton Sons of the American Revolution chapter, July 4th, 2026.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. If everyone please stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, thank you for this day that you give us to be here. Please watch over us tonight and help us to make the right decision. Thank you for all the people that come out and all the sponsors of the 250 American. Please watch over them and keep them safe, and thank you for what they do. Please be with us as we leave tonight and keep us all safe. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I officially call our June Board of Commissioners meeting to order. And second item is roll call. And let it be known that all commissioners are present. You have a copy of your agenda in front of you. Are there any deletions, additions? If not, I entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I make a motion to approve agenda.
You got a motion?
Second.
You got 2 seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Passes. All right, finance.
Good evening, everyone. Before y'all is a resolution that I asked for the board to adopt the FY27 budget.
We also have
Yeah.
Tax Commissioner Tommy Knight here, if there's any questions.
Okay. There's,
Tax Assessor,
yeah,
sorry.
Tax Assessor Tommy Knight's here if y'all have any questions in reference to that as well. So do y'all have any questions?
So I have a question for Tom. Y'all, I'm sorry. I've been round the bend about this budget all week, and I can't talk anymore, so forgive me. I sound very raspy. I have a question for Tommy Knight about the tax digest, and I think it's for Tommy. So we're projecting in the budget an additional $4 million from the tax digest, and that we can achieve that $4 million without changing the millage rate. Is that accurate?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the overall county budget, and don't have a final digest. I'm a little bit lost as to what your 4 million.
We're
sorry,
projecting 4 million in additional revenue.
From last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Okay.
From prior year, yes.
From prior year, yeah, just 4 million over 2026 number, and that's attributed solely to the growth of the tax digest.
Correct.
Okay. And so people got their assessment, I got mine. My home value went down, so I was sad about that, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe we should, I'm just kidding. So can you, the assessed value on the tax notice that went out, it was not a bill, it was not a
No.
statement of what the bill's gonna be.
No.
It had the current value, or the prior year's value and this year's value, and the difference.
I can talk about that a little bit more in
That
depth
would
if
be
you want me to.
great.
Yes. The state came this year and said, we're going to make a change to the notice. They get a lot of complaints on the estimated tax, and when, you got to remember, you guys just see what you do on this board. You got to remember, I do 8 different digests. I don't just do the Walton County digest. I've got the county, I've got Monroe, Social Circle, Loganville, Walnut Grove, Fire, Walton County School, and Social Circle as an independent school. All of those are independent digest, one of another. All have different exemptions, all are calculated in very, very different formats and different ways, and it gets quite complicated. This year, the 4 cities had to roll their homesteaded values back to a 2024 number, the 4 cities that levied that I just named. So we had to get programming involved, took about 5 months to get these values right, so that ultimately when bills are issued in August, they'll go out with a 2024 value for city tax purposes only. You need to understand that, for city tax purposes only, it will go out at a 24 value. If someone already had a homestead, they could have had a homestead since 2010 for county. So their value would be locked at a 2010 number for county purposes and a 2024 number for city purposes. If they're not 65, it's not locked at all for school purposes. So you got 3 different taxable values for the same piece of property. It's very complicated. It's complicated for me, and I've been doing this for 33 years. For the average citizen, it's very hard for us to explain that. The legislative body decided that's what they wanted to do, so we had to implement that. It was voted on by the voters of the 4 cities in November's ballot. It passed overwhelmingly, so we did put it into motion. And a lot of programming, a lot of work went into it from my staff, but we were able to get it accomplished through that. Now, saying that, the reason they didn't want the estimate on there anymore, unless all those cities, the county, and both schools have their budget and their millage rates set in stone, and I know what they're going to be, I can't put that on the notice. Because if I put that on the notice, that becomes, I'm going to call it the gospel. That becomes the truth for people, and that's what they see. But if that changes in any of those, and it did throughout the state, cities, counties, schools all changed their millage rates. You got fire districts, you've got some that have trash collection, sanitation. There's many different things that go on people's bill. And so if those change and it's not on that estimate, we get criticized for it, even though my office has no control over any of those things. We do not set the budget, and we do not set the millage rate. That's yours. That's the city council, and that's the school boards. They set all those rates. We have nothing to do with those. We just plug them in our formula, send that over to the tax commissioner, and that's how a bill is calculated. But our simple role is to make sure the values are right and make sure the exemptions are accounted for the way they're supposed to be.
So for homeowners in Walton County, for the county portion of their tax bill, just the county portion, if they are in a homesteaded property, which would be their primary residence,
Correct?
their property value is frozen at the market.
Whatever, if they buy, let's say they bought the property in 2015, is prior year, so their value would be frozen at 2014. The house and up to 5 acres.
Okay. And
Okay.
so if that's all I have, I don't have a lot. So my house is frozen, so even if that assessment that it said, let's pretend my value went up, it didn't. Did I mention that? Even if my value had gone up, if the millage rate doesn't increase, my tax bill should not increase.
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
I-
it.
I live
That's-
in the county,
That's your
I don't
house
live
and
in a
up to
city.
5 acres.
up to 5 acres.
If you have
Anything,
more than 5 acres, the additional over 5, let's say you had 10, the remaining 5 is still subject
okay.
to taxation.
And any commercial property, second home, second rental property, whatever, would
They're all
be subject to
full
the
tax.
increase. And that's where the additional $4 million comes in. I was gonna ask something else. If a homeowner has not applied for the homestead exemption, can they apply? Is it retroactive?
It's not retroactive, but they can come in and apply up to the date of the final appeal, which this year is July 6th.
Okay, so everybody go check your property taxes, and if you don't have homestead exemption, go apply for it for your primary residence.
And that's new this year.
That is new this year. It has been April 1st.
I didn't know that.
That was changed for this year, too. My organization, through the assessing, if you're going to give homestead and you're going to allow the appeal period to be 45 days, give the people a chance to file for homestead.
I appreciate
So
that.
they were able to, we got that passed.
Okay,
So that's a big benefit. We've had a lot of people come in the last couple of weeks since we've sent notices out and file for homestead.
good.
So, and we're about to start our homestead audits in about a month. So,
Can you,
So-
can you speak to the credit this year between the state and the
yeah,
county?
let's talk about you guys are going to hear it referred to as the HTRG. That's Homestead Tax Relief Grant. The last time they did that was in 2023. It's going to be $18,000 again, just as it was in 2023. That number's $18,000 off of your assessed value, not your appraised value. That's your 100% value. Your assessed value, which is your 40% value. It'll be $18,000 off of that. The average person's going to save about $500. So let's talk about that for a minute. They save their $500. So when the bill goes out, if their bill was going to be $3,000, the bill's going to go out at $2,500. That credit will be on their bill. The tax commissioner's going to be responsible for making sure that is on the bill, just as they have in every other year this credit's been given. So the state has I'm going to call it a pile of money over here for that grant money to come back to the county. We have to apply to get that money back that the state says we're going to give to relief to the property owners, but we're going to give it back to you as a county. That's about $9.5 million. But let me tell you something. The pot over here that the state has is only so big. So if you have a late tax digest, your tax digest is not submitted on time, it has inadequacies, not found in order, so to speak, you're not going to get your digest on time. And the later you get that, the less likely you are to get that grant money back, because once it runs out, it's out. And we've been told that. So once it's gone, it's gone. So it doesn't seem fair, but that's the way it works.
That'll be for homestead properties only.
Yes, sir. Homesteaded properties only.
And is that a
We wanna make
one-year
sure-
thing?
I'm
That's
sorry.
a this-year only thing, not
Well,
next year?
Lee, they've done it periodically as the state has extra money. Kemp's done it a couple of different times since he's been governor. It started with Roy Barnes back in '02 was the first time they did it.
Sure.
And they've just, every time the state has a little extra money, they impose this, and it's gone up. It started out, I believe the first year was $2,000. Last time they did it in 2023, it was also 18. It's 18 again this year. But that equates to $9.5 million back to the county as a whole.
So if we don't get our ducks in a row and have everything together, we could end up $9.5 million short?
You got it.
Yes, that was part of that question.
That's
Yeah.
why,
Well, the homeowners end up with a $9.5 million credit. It's replacing tax that we would normally be collecting.
that's correct.
It's not an additional
It's not an additional
$9.5
money, it's not additional
million.
funding whatsoever, none. It's taking money that state has extra and saying, we're gonna give it to the property
It's
owners.
giving the property
We're
owners
gonna
the
give them this
credit.
credit out here that's not on their bill, and we're gonna reimburse you for that you're giving them the break for.
If
Well,
you
we only
it
get
in.
reimbursed if we get essentially our.
It's gotta be on
invoice.
time, and it's gotta be accurate. So,
Hey,
All right.
can I ask
Any
one-
other questions?
I have another question. It's a little bit irrelevant, but when did our homestead exemption, like, how far back is the property value go? How old is our homestead exemption?
it was voted on in '02 and first put in place in '03.
Okay, so the oldest property value would be '03.
We call it in my office the welcome to Walton County tax. If you're a new homeowner and you move in beside somebody that's been here, I'm gonna say 15 years, and they've had a homestead that long, they're gonna pay far less taxes than you pay as the new owner,
Yeah, you have to.
because you've got the
subsidize them
benefit of
like
that
me.
long-term homestead. But that can come back and bite you too, because I don't wanna call a name, but I know a lady that came in, she lived just outside of Loganville, and she didn't pay any school tax at all, so that was eliminated. She was 71 years old, she had no school tax. But her county freeze was at $130,000 because she got it back in '03. She moved to a 55 and over neighborhood, $410,000 house, so her base started from 130 to 410. So she had lesser house, a little bit lesser property, and her tax bill was 4 times what it was, well, 3 times what it was.
I can relate to that.
So we had a hard time explaining to her how that process works, but that's the way Walton County does business.
Yeah.
If you're a long-time property owner, you definitely get a benefit.
I can relate to that.
Good questions. Does
Hey,
any,
one more thing, explain about the boats.
All right, the boats. Timmy, the boats, I'm gonna get into rules and regs a little bit here because this is what we're governed by in my office. And it's 560-11-10-0.2.085E. I know that don't mean anything to anybody in this room except me, but that's what we're bound by. They go by, you know what Kelly Blue Book is? All right, well, we go by the ABOS book. So we don't have access to sales of boats like you do sales of houses. People don't disclose that information. So we use that as our guide source to value boats. 80% of the market for boats right now is used boats. They are prime time right now. The new boat market, because financing is so high and the price of boats are so high, nobody's looking to buy new. They want to buy used. So that creates an influx on the used boat market. Now, I will say, if anybody on this board, or anybody listening on Facebook, or anybody in the audience, it doesn't matter to me, if you think the value of your boat's inappropriate that we sent you, come see us. We'll look at it. I can't tell you we'll make an adjustment until we look at it, but we'll certainly take a look at it. But we simply are following what the state says do. I don't like it. I've never liked it, but they don't give us an option either.
okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
okay, entertain a motion to adopt the fiscal 27 budget.
I make a motion to adopt the fiscal '27 budget.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
With the board, go ahead.
Yes, I have further discussion. Go ahead, Lee, you were first.
No, I was just asking, like, with the board, I mean, there's certain obligations that we have in the budget that we know we have to fund. Like, the uptick in insurance costs from what we had before. There's a lot of positions in the budget this year, which I would hope, I know that to the budget committee, I know y'all worked hard through this and went from there, but I think what I would ask and feel more comfortable is until we get a better baseline of where we're at and the digest totally get done and brought back, as far as approving the budget without the positions, but with take care of the employees that we got and the fundamental things that we have to do, and then discuss the positions later down the road, because, Walton County is still going to open up and function on July 1st.
Well, actually, I've done a lot of research on this recently. I'm a little forced from it. So that's a good question. If we don't approve the budget tonight, Walton County may not. We would have to do a continuing resolution, is that right?
Correct.
To fund the county as
I'm
of
not
July
saying
1st.
Don't approve the budget tonight. What I'm saying is approve it without the positions in it. Like, approve the fundamentals of the stuff we got to have.
So you're suggesting don't approve the balanced budget, but alter the balanced budget?
Alter the balanced budget going forward without the new positions that are in it. Because, there should be a lot of EMS positions in it, and they're not.
So there are, wait, I know this, I've done work. There are 4 EMS positions, is that right?
There's one EMS position in the
one
budget,
EMS position.
and there are currently
Oh, I have my.
total of
numbers.
12 available, so that's the reason why there's not more in the budget.
Okay, sorry, I have my numbers, I was looking at it wrong.
I've done that.
So I've done a lot of, I got some actuals numbers from Jennifer, and I've done a lot of analyzing where we actually stand with the budget, where we currently stand with spending. Because that's a big question is, how are we trending? Or do we really need all the money that we asked for 26? And do we need an additional, the total budget increase is 7 million, only 4 million of that comes from taxpayer-funded sources. The rest of it would come from participation in fee schedule activities. So, where was I going with this? Oh, so I took the actuals, or I asked Jennifer to send me the actuals, where we currently are. And I did some math, and I figure we have probably, I estimated, and correct me if this is my question for you. I estimated that we have probably at least a month and a half of expenses that aren't reflected on that, in those current numbers, in our current financial status.
Those current numbers and stuff was like the last check run in May, so we still have the whole month of June. However, most of the invoices that we probably processed in May was April, because we go all the way almost until the end of August, beginning of September, still paying on invoices.
Okay, and we accrue those into the
Yes.
26 financials. Okay, so my numbers are actually really conservative because I figured we'd actually this included more. So we're probably actually trending, so I did some math. I didn't do the math, Excel spreadsheets did the math. So I did the math, and our current expenses are 83 million. And I'm estimating, y'all, don't quote me on dollars.
You're almost pinpoint on.
83 million. So I figure if we still have about a month and a half left of expenses, and you're saying we still have a lot more than that to factor in, then that would put us at about 95 million at the end of the fiscal year, which will probably be trending higher than that, closer to our actual budgeted amount. So that would put us at about a 7% variance on our budgeted expenses to our actual expenses, if you look at the revised budget amount. So that leaves us with a 7% variance. A good budgeting, accurate budgeting is considered to be between 2% and 5%. So we need to figure out where the gap is that we're over that 5%, although at this point, we may actually be closer to that 5%. So where are we not spending that we thought we would spend?
So on the sheet that you got sent today,
Uh-huh.
it did not include the money that we're gonna have to have for what we are paying for E911 solid waste.
So it didn't have the paybacks.
Because we won't know that until we true up the budget, because we have to see how much revenue that they're bringing in to know how much the county will end up actually completely paying for those funds.
Right, so I was comparing line by line in the actuals versus the budget. So I think that would have been an accurate comparison. I think where I am is still an accurate comparison even without adding that number in, because that's not added in what I was comparing it to either.
It's still accurate, yeah.
Okay, so where is I'm gonna say 7 million, I mean, where are we?
I can cover some
Over-
of that. The main difference in between 25, 26, and 27 is that we were budgeting for jail operations in 2 locations. We were budgeting for both the old facility and the new facility. And we were doing anticipation of inmate medical, inmate food contract, and facility maintenance. Rather than just go with the old contract and multiply the new number, which we knew that would be pretty exorbitant, we went out to bid. But before we even went out to bid, we had to have a number placeholder in for inmate medical. The same thing for the food contract, the same thing for facility maintenance. And then, before we ever operate it, we're trying to use best practices, those that build it, similar facility sizes, similar inmate populations, to anticipate water, gas, and electric. So here we are, we're going from a facility that had been designed for 360 to nearly 900, and we're doing budget estimates for 2. You move forward with those, and then new positions that were being requested to fill the required slots in the new jail, and the recruitment team that was formed, and the Sheriff's Department has done an amazing job and bringing on staff to be able to operate the new jail. However, there's still about 30 positions there that have not been filled. Doesn't mean they're not needed, they just haven't been able to secure the applicants and to fill that position. Those 30 carry over into the new budget year. So by the time you do all of those, that's going to end up being right at your 7% variance of about $7 million.
So how much was in personnel?
Roughly 3 altogether. Because we currently have almost 80 positions across the entire county that are not filled,
Okay.
that have been authorized, that are not filled, which means other people are working overtime or filling those positions.
So that's 3 million in unrealized personnel in the jail?
Yes, yes,
And, okay, I was not countywide, is what I was, okay.
yes.
And then how much did we over budget, or how did we end with the budget for the inmate medical, inmate?
Well, say for instance on inmate medical, we're realizing lower costs than were anticipated. And in the FY27 budget, you're seeing us bring that down, I believe, by $500,000. In order to, we might be able to do more, but we don't have a 12-month history yet. So we're trying to, again, formulate a budget to make sure that we're taking care of all the needs within the Sheriff's Department, specifically that line item. But most everything else, like anything else that we open that is new, you're anticipating, you're doing cost projections as best you can, but then after you have a 12-month history, you dial that back to be more towards the actual. But in this case, we went ahead and inmate medical is coming in so well that we were able to dial that back by about $500,000 this year.
And still feel confident?
And there will be other opportunities. You know, this is the first time Walton County has ever opened a facility of that size. So there'll be opportunities as we work with the sheriff to realize actuals there, the same at Walnut Grove Park. We've got other parks to compare it to. One thing that we were readily and nicely surprised by is that you would think a facility 3 times the size would have some increase in energy usage and water, but the new water system that restricts 24/7 usage by the inmate to scheduled times, that is resulting in about the same cost as the old facility, even though it's 3 times larger. And energy efficiencies at the new facility are also really showing that we're going to be able to curtail increases in that area as well.
Okay, any other questions on the budget?
Yes, I do. That brings us to our current budget of $102 million. But we have asked for we've asked for $107 million for 2027 fiscal year.
Yes.
And I just want to go over what the additional monies are for, what is included in that. Because I think we talked about it in the budget hearings, the budget presentation, but I think it's worth
Well, I'd like everybody to know.
reiterating.
1.8 in health insurance increases. That is a combination of some additional staff, but the majority of that are, we were trending the last 2 years. We've actually had health insurance decreases. But just like everything, if you wreck your car, your insurance is going to go up. We had several high claims that were made that unfortunately were the month before our renewal. So therefore, the way insurance works, they're working on recouping some of that money. So we saw a $1.8 million increase.
And did we take that to bid?
We did. MSI Benefits, which is our broker, shopped that around. Dental was shopped, vision was shopped, health was shopped, everything was shopped. And actually, it came in at about a 14% increase. It originally was going to be in the 20%, and we were able to negotiate that down even further. The next item that you're going to see that's a part of that is that we have a lease program now within the Sheriff's Department. It allowed us to go from, I think, 8 vehicles to 32 by utilizing a lease program. And as part of the budget, the upcoming budget, what you'll see is the $1.2 million, which is the lease payment for the patrol vehicles and the other vehicles that were realized as part of that program. Merit, the 2.5% for staff that is based on if they meet performance standards is 1.1. And then the new personnel and reclassifications is a total of 1.9. That new personnel, the breakdown of that is 16 full-time and 6 part-time. And I think it's important to differentiate where that comes from. 6 of the full-time are associated with, these are in the fire fund. These will be paid for by the fire tax, and there will not be an increase in the fire tax to do this. 1 is in the water fund. That's paid for by water customers, and that is part of our succession plan for the department there. There's 4 in the sheriff's office, 1 in public works to handle the increased solid waste responsibilities that we're experiencing in that area. The others are associated with the courts, 2 in the public defender's office, 1 in Superior Court, and 1 in Magistrate Court. You move over in the temporary, 5 are in the sheriff's office, 1 in EMS. Now,
Can you elaborate on the 4 full-time positions in the sheriff's office?
yes, those are all listed as additional new positions to support 911 that dispatch fire, EMS, and the sheriff's department.
So there are.
And they also do 911 services for other jurisdictions. A lot of that's based on call volume and is directly tied to communications officers that send help to our public.
So we had a significant, I'm going back, so forgive me. Does anybody, while we're on this topic, does anybody have any questions about the increase? No, okay, just me.
Sounds like it's more than 4 million.
What?
It's more than 4 million though. What's the total increase?
The total increase is almost 7 million from last year's original approved budget.
Right.
But 4 million of that comes from the tax digest.
Yeah.
And the other, it's actually just under 3 million comes from participation in fee-based services. So
Increase in parks and recreation fees and
parks and fees.
and participation levels and different things like that.
And but it's also permits and things like that. It's other
The
income.
taxpayers are still paying for it, and the people that come here and participate in programs are still paying for the increase.
For those who are utilizing it, yes.
Right.
But it's not an across the board. It's not coming from your property tax digest. It's coming from the people who are utilizing those specific services. I want to go back because you said in the 2026 budget, we had roughly, I'm going to say 3 million in unrealized personnel expenses.
Yes.
And that was, I think, in the jail or in the sheriff's office.
That's across the board, across the county, but the majority of those are in positions in the in jail services.
So do we believe that that gap is going to close, or do we expect to have a surplus in that line item, or those line items again? I mean, I expect, if we could budget specifically that, we should go play the lottery, but.
I think if you take the success of the recruitment program that the sheriff implemented and the track record of hiring 50 to 60 new deputies that were authorized, I don't think it's unreasonable in the least bit to expect that he will be able to complete that gap and fully staff his operations at the jail. And that will remove right at almost 3 million there alone.
Surplus.
Yeah.
Because at this time of stuff, the sheriff, they only have 8 positions that they had requested at the board meeting on August the 5th that they have not filled. The other positions that John has been talking about and stuff, those were the other positions that were already, had been approved, you know.
Random,
prior-
random turnover.
But we're looking at what was not paid out, so unrealized payroll and overhead expenses and personnel in 2026.
Yeah, and
So
most of the
it
time, that's seen
seems-
as a good thing if you return it.
That Sheriff Brooks was just very ambitious in his hiring schedule.
Well, and I have no doubt that he'll be able to close that gap. Here's another number that we're having to budget for this year that we haven't had to budget for in the past. And this is $2,727,664. We, through financial stewardship and taking money that we borrowed in the form of bonds and investing that in T-notes that were making much more interest, the federal government has rules about how much interest you can make. And whether you view it as fortunate or unfortunate, we were so successful at the reinvestment of that money as it was being drawn down for the jail project that we made $2,727,664 more dollars in interest revenue than we were allowed by the federal government. So part of that, it's called arbitrage, and we are required to pay that portion of our overall interest that we were able to realize on the borrowing of that money. Because you have to remember, we borrowed at, 0.8%? 1.8%. So by what was going on with T-notes and being in the fours, that was interest gained that we were able to show as revenue, except for arbitrage kicked in and we were too successful at that.
And
So
that
we're
goes-
having to pay that back.
And that goes in the fiscal year 27 rather than in fiscal year
Yes, while there's more arbitrage that we anticipate because we have the park bond, and we did the same with the bond for the water treatment plant, there'll be more arbitrage, but there'll be a lot more interest too. So I can't say that there won't be arbitrage in the future, but this is a one-time payment for the jail bond arbitrage.
Hey, do you, right offhand, know how much interest we earn, like the percentage that?
Over $5 million.
We're paying in arbitrage?
Yeah, over $5 million.
So we're paying
That's
almost,
what- That's what we gained, that's what we have gained.
right, but we have
A
to
little
pay
over
back
5 was what
almost
we gained.
50% of that in arbitrage?
Thank your federal government.
That is rude.
Yeah, yeah. They're some of the only ones that have rules that are against money management practices.
Now, we made a 3% spread on the jail money,
That's highway robbery.
Easy-
which is
3%
phenomenal. And factored some of that interest in our expenses for the jail, thinking it was our interest.
Yeah.
And now we've been hit by the IRS. And in total, there's $4,680,000 over 2 years so far.
Yeah. So to finalize the answer to your question is yes, I have no doubt that those departments who have authorized positions will be able to close the gap. And the new positions have nothing to do with the existing positions. What I think also is important, so 6 in the fire, 1 in water, then you look at the remainder. So 2 in the public defender's office, 1 in superior court and 1 in magistrate court. One of your biggest liabilities is people being in the jail. When they're in the jail, we're responsible for 100% of their medical. And part of this program and working with the public defender in superior court is to have a more targeted effort within the jail in order to process things quicker, to get people moved through the system quicker, which will limit the county's liability. If somebody has to have a major medical procedure done, that's at the taxpayers' dollars. So one of the things that I've witnessed this year is the sheriff sharing information with the judges and having the district attorney and the public defender at the table. There's been additional court dates that have been added to move things through the process, and we're really looking at it as an overall management tool. And those positions are directly related to the potential that you have with that, associated with that. There's a lot more positions that were requested that were denied by the Budget Committee as it came through the review. Department directors left and right left thinking that they really needed something, but it was turned down, and it was narrowed down to this. And I hope that everybody sees that it's a public safety focused. There is one succession planning within the water department and one very much needed position within Public Works to handle the volume of garbage because of the increased number of people who are going across the scales. Every one of the other positions is 100% public safety.
I'm
And I
sorry.
would dare say that any of the department directors or the sheriff that requested those would get up and be able to articulate pretty well why they think they need them.
So we have somebody in Public Works for solid waste. Are you saying we're trashy?
We could be more trashy if we don't handle our trash correctly.
One question just like in my mind around what was talked about earlier about Tommy Knight, the tax assessor. So this credit, everybody's getting on their bill for $500,
Yes, sir.
that, they're getting that credit no matter what.
They're getting it no matter what. The variable is, will we get reimbursed if we delay?
So that was my question. So if we don't pass this budget in some way, form, or fashion, and we get behind the eight ball, we could end up with a major deficit because we're not.
From my understanding, what's Tommy shared and what, all the training that's going out to all the county managers and through ACCG, that's correct.
Okay.
It sounded like you said it's based off the digest, whether the digest is complete and is accurate and turned in
On time.
not as much as the budget.
It's got to be the complete process because the bills are part of that too.
And are the appeals process part of that as well, like if folks appeal and it holds it up from being that?
Yeah, and they've got a game plan for how to address that to keep everything on schedule. So I don't think the appeals are going to be a factor.
In this budget, we work backwards down to a number that we would keep the millage rate exactly the same as last year if the digest comes in as we predict. So with this budget, there'll actually be a credit, hopefully $500 from the state on the tax amount, and there'll be
No increase on fire or millage rate for the county portion. And the only variable that we don't know is what will happen at the school level
Or
or any
City
of the
level.
cities.
All right, any other
I
questions?
got 3 questions, Mr. Chairman, real quick.
All right,
First question, the $9 million credit, where's that in the budget?
We can't well,
it comes off of the taxes that we would have collected. It goes straight as a credit to the taxpayer, the homeowner, against what they would have had to pay.
And then the state reimburses it.
yeah,
And
when
then the
tax-
state reimburses the county, so it's a zero wash for us, the commissioners.
Yeah, it's
And
not in
it's
the,
a
it's not in the
plus
budget for that
for
reason,
homeowners.
because it shows up through the tax commissioner's office.
Okay.
He then totals everything up for all of the qualified parcels, submits that to the state, and we're in the race with all the other counties to get that in.
Second question.
It'll work exactly like 2023.
All right, second question. About a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, we had a big $7 million shortfall that we had approved for the jail. That was a budget amendment made for the jail, $7 million plus. Do we anticipate any more of those shortfalls coming forward, and is that being addressed in this budget?
Well, the shortfall was when the jail was approved, it was when bond counsel came before the commission, and in 2 other meetings, it was outlined there would be bond proceeds, SPOS proceeds, and general fund revenue to make up for the total of the jail cost. And I went back and verified that, and that's in the minutes, and that's in multiple documents, including the bond counsels. So it wasn't a deficit, it was what was anticipated to be used out of the reserve, out of the general fund portion all along since the beginning of the project. But yes, we are in the final stages. We have, I think, some invoices that you're aware of that you can discuss on what we know may be coming in to finalize that project.
We have 2 outstanding invoices, and that's all I'm waiting on to finalize the jail. One of them, we had a problem with a lift being installed. It was either damaged when it got delivered, or it was damaged when it was put in, so they're waiting on the fix of that, and then we're waiting on that invoice to come in for that.
So we'll pay it after it's been made good.
After they've made sure everything is good and working with it, then we'll pay that. And then there is one other one, a potential, I think, golf cart is.
To transport injured inmate.
For injured inmates, and that's the last of the two invoices that we have. And we actually just came in, one of the invoices we had outstanding, they actually finalized it that we didn't owe any more on it, even though we had a portion that we showed we did. They wiped it. They said we didn't owe them any more money. And so we actually had more bond money now, since we don't have that pending outstanding PO, to cover those two outstanding invoices that are left.
Okay.
So just,
So hopefully, with all of that information, we should not have any more draw to any of the general fund portion of what that project anticipated.
can I just clarify one thing real quick on that? Can I ask a follow-up question to your second question?
Yeah.
So when we approved that 7 million change, whatever, to come out of the general fund to pay, we were always anticipating spending money out of the general fund. We
Yeah.
just didn't know how much.
Correct.
And so we were finalizing to move the exact number over.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay, now third question. There's been talk about the old jail and renovating the old jail to put in personnel and elections. Where is that project right
It's
now?
not, it's later on in the agenda for you to decide whether we move forward. Capital projects have all been removed from the budget. I know we talked about it when the budget was presented, but capital projects for any building and/or vehicle purchase have been removed because we know that there's the $3 to $5 million that are going to be realized savings in this. So we anticipate coming back department by department to the commission to pay for capital projects like dump truck purchases or additional vehicle purchases to utilize saved money as opposed to, because of it being a capital item versus
Those are
regular operational.
Purchases which fit our fiscal policy.
Yeah, and it's all per the fiscal policy and the purchasing policy. But the renovation of the jail is not in the budget. It is in discussion later on in the agenda for the commission to decide whether you want to move forward. I know we voted unanimously, I think unanimously, to look at the feasibility of it. That's going to be presented back tonight, and then we'll have a discussion about it.
Okay.
And just to clarify, our financial policy allows us to use saved monies from prior years, so,
For one-time expenses or capital projects, but not reoccurring costs.
okay, thank you.
Because if
That
you
is
use it,
offset.
then you got a budget for it next year, and it gets everything out of kilter.
Okay.
Money like that, I get that there's things spending on to do. How do we get
Can you talk a little bit louder? Okay, sorry.
I said, I understand there's money like that out there that, we're hoping you definitely want to come in under rather than over. I agree with that. So how do we get to a point of applying that to where the next year's budget can actually trend down rather than trend up based off savings that we've had in previous budgets?
Well, you'll be able,
Resulting in a benefit to
We
the
would have
taxpayer.
to
well,
amend
I
our
think
We're-
I've,
policy.
Let me address that. We're in a extremely growing situation in the county. Demand on public safety. We're already having to add another ambulance and crew.
We need
How
to
do
have-
you expect the budget to trend down?
So,
I mean,
So, Lee, can I speak to that for a minute? If we use regular recurring, if I use my savings to pick up my regular recurring monthly expenses every month, or every month, at some point, I'm gonna run out of savings and I'm gonna have a lot of deficit in my income, so I'm living beyond my means. So to stay within my means, I have to cover all of my regular recurring monthly expenses out of my regular recurring monthly income
Right.
and not dip into savings. So, and that's why the financial policy was adopted, I think, in 2017.
yes.
I think it was, 2017, to not use savings for regular recurring expenses. If we had extraordinary expenses or,
Like employees,
uh,
like Isn't there a thing that says you can't use savings for employees, correct?
Yes, you
That's
can't
correct.
use,
In addition to
because,
staff.
Is this
because
That's-
that's gonna be
that's reoccurring.
recurring.
Yeah, and like, I mean, we're one of the few counties that had a fire station burned down. And we didn't have to go borrow money or hit the taxpayers to build it back.
Does anybody else see the irony
Pulled
in
it
that?
pulled it from our reserves.
No, just me?
Yeah, and Lee, I think what'll happen by not including capital within your operating budget, in the past years, what I've seen is if a department got 4 pickup trucks, the money for those 4 pickup trucks showed as an expense within their department. When the prior year, so it looked like an astronomical percentage increase. Then the next year it drops down, and you saw this ebb and flow of the movement of that all over the operating budget, which made it harder to even predict or find trends. By utilizing savings for one-time purchases, like we're proposing for the capital items, you'll have more consistent expense budgets, and you'll only use the capital side. So it really is a movement towards creating a capital expense fund, moving that out, and then totally segregating it from everybody's operating budget to where it moves up and down every year.
It also gives us a better baseline for accurately budgeting and forecasting.
Yeah, because it's 4 vehicles being added to some of the smaller departments greatly skews any kind of averaging when you're doing budget prediction.
No, I get that, and I totally foresee that, and that's definitely a good way of looking at it. Though the way I sort of see it is the fact that, hey, the budget, we're going up $7 million, and we're still gonna spend more money on other stuff, like out of savings. So is the budget really, what would be the projected budget, or is it actually higher than that?
It's in your capital budget, so you would add it to it for the total, yes,
Okay.
yeah. And it's quite common practice in most every county.
All right, any other questions? We'll call the question. We have a motion and a second to adopt the fiscal year 27 budget. All those in favor, say aye, and show your hands, please. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Is that 2?
All right, it passes. All right, this next one you're going to love too.
You're gonna-
John, you want to tell us about the O'Kelly Library funding?
This is one that I need to provide you an update on how we need to address this. Originally, O'Kelly Library, the Azalea Regional Library System, came to the county requesting permission to apply for a state grant. They've been able to secure $3 million, maybe more at this point, for the creation of the library in Loganville. At that time, it was determined that we would determine what percentage or what amount the county would contribute to that project. And at a later date, when an IGA was developed between the Azalea Regional Library System and the county, we were provided with the number from the finance department of eligible impact fees in the amount in excess of 1.2 million were available for the project. I can share with you the emails. I can share with you all the different information that was the background for that and that calculation. Because there's 2 things in place. One, the impact fee fund. On the other side is the information that we have to submit for the capital improvement element to through the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission and the Department of Community Affairs. When they moved forward with the project and started to get ready to submit invoices, because the IGA had drawdown state money, drawdown money from the city of Loganville, and as they're reaching I'd say they're about 80 to 90% done on the project. And when it came down to draw down the 1.2 million from the county, that raised a red flag with finance. Because finance was looking back at the accounts to pull the 1.2 million from, and the information that had been provided was the total impact fee amount, not that segregated for the library amount. So the situation we're in, and do you have the updated numbers for us?
I do, hang on, let's see this.
Yep, she's going to grab those, is that we need to combine impact fee dollars and fund the remainder from the reserve fund. I have reached out to DCA, and all this is dependent upon collections. And if you remember, we tripled the amount of impact fees, but I don't think anybody's got a crystal ball that can tell you how much impact fees we'll be able to collect at the current rate and/or what the future holds. But one of the things I did is I reached out to DCA, and by combining the two pots of money, funding the portion that's not in the impact fee out of the reserve fund, which we have, we would then be able to, over time, if there's money left over, reimburse the reserve fund. So it would move back from the impact fee fund back to the reserve fund. The one caveat is that we also provide $60,000 worth of book money out of impact fees. And we would need to ensure that that $60,000 remains for purchasing of the books for all the different libraries, and then anything left over after that would be able to reimburse the reserve fund.
How much are we short?
And I was looking, because I think that's the one I left, had handed you, John. I'm trying to find the,
And these are things you can't budget for.
no, and it's around 770, I think 4,000. I think John had the,
Let me see, would it be in a text that you sent me?
it might have been, I thought I had that updated sheet, but I think I left trying to get everything else together on it.
Told Loganville we would commit 1.2 million based on what Milton showed us.
Just-
Huh?
Isn't it already under construction?
Right. They're toward the end of construction. They're looking
Yeah, I didn't.
for the last payment.
770.
We got to approve,
Not to exceed 780. I think that would,
Yeah, it's around
How much?
774,000, it's around that.
772,074.
74.
Or,
074. 774. $774,000. This board gave a commitment to Loganville based on our finance department at the time that we had 1.2 million in the library fund of impact fees. Turns out we did not.
That's correct.
That was a total impact fees of the impact fee account. And based on that information given to this board, we committed to Loganville to contribute 1.2 million to their library. And now we're $772,774 that needs to come out of the general fund and hope it gets reimbursed over time.
Correct.
Still at the same amount, just coming from a different pot.
They'll get the 1.2. Loganville will.
John, exactly.
We'll be taking, instead of impact fees, we'll be taking $772,774 out of our fund balance.
And then, but seeking it to come back.
And they'll keep accounting, and
The
it
goal,
may
the
be,
goal is for that to occur.
It
We
may
just-
be
I-
10,
I
12
can't-
years
I don't
before
have the
we get
crystal
it
ball
all
to say
back.
exactly when or in what amount.
Right, because we still have to lot, every year, every fiscal year, they do, the 4 libraries do ask, and we set aside in the, during the budget process, and the board, graciously agrees to give them, 15,000 each year to the 4 libraries, so it totals up to 60,000, so we would still have to, what they
Make good on
collect.
that, yeah.
We still have to take that money out to ensure that they receive the.
But this portion is also a component of the overall tripling of the impact fees that occurred just a few months ago. So all new houses that are being permitted and anything moving forward that qualify for library impact fees, and most of that's going to be residential, would be potentially eligible for some of that.
But the 60,000 would be in the budget. That's not coming to impact fees, is it? That's 60,000, or it comes out of impact?
It
fees?
is coming out of
Coming out of
impact
impact
fees.
fees. That's
Yes,
not-
sir.
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
what's the formula for putting back this money?
It-
Whatever's over the
The
60?
formula is whatever comes in minus 60, and the remainder could be returned to the
So
reserve
whatever,
fund.
what the
if
difference
we
is?
don't-
If it comes in that amount.
Okay.
I was about to say, if we don't collect 60,000, we're not on the hook for 60,000 in impact fees.
Well,
No, we don't.
I don't
right,
think
if
we've
they do-
ever-
Yes, if they do not collect, so, library, Spire, da-da-da, they have their own selection of what they can collect. And if they're throughout the fiscal year, if the libraries, if they do not collect that portion of amount, then they're not eligible to receive it. If that's not what they have allotted for them, then there's, we can't use it, because if we use it, then you're using fire or sheriff's or,
Yeah, right.
animal control, someone else's money that they have eligible to use.
Well,
We allot 60,000 a year in impact fees that we get to
Yes.
go, to be dispersed to the libraries. If we don't get $60,000 in impact fees, we're not on the hook for it.
Correct. The other component of this that I just wanted to assure you is that while that information came through communications with the finance department, Jennifer and Alicia were not involved in that. We've had staff transition, and actually our finance department now have methods in place and are monitoring things to where we catch things like that so that we can avoid anything like that moving into the future.
I motion to pay the bill.
I think we gotta do it. Second.
all right, we'll need a motion to make up the difference of our commitment from the general fund.
She made it.
So
You
moved.
did?
Second by
I didn't
Tina.
hear you, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay.
Thank you.
As a process of ending the fiscal year, we need a resolution authorizing the chairman to do the year-end amendments to the fiscal '26 budget as they come in as part of the fiscal year closing process. Got a motion? Got a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? All right, county manager's report.
This is going to be an abbreviated report because my head's still swimming for numbers, but we have 18,414 active water customers. You're going to have on your agenda in just a little bit a bid for a water rate study, and this is to ensure all that all projects and all operations are captured in the development of our water rates. One thing I wanted to put you on notice on is DOT has revised the plan for the Highway 20 3 roundabouts without notifying us or the contractor. We're not sure exactly what this is, but discussions between the contractor and DOT regarding additional cost due to some of those changes, since the DOT has previously committed to paying 100% of any utility relocations on that. We're expecting that to continue, but with the way some things work, I wouldn't be surprised if they reach back out to us. We've exhausted all funds on Ozora Church Road. We've exhausted all funds on the Walnut Grove roundabout, and that was why they funded that at 100% instead of us. So if anybody gets contacted on that, please refer them back to me, and I'll help them with the numbers. The water plant, we're currently moving forward with an anticipation completion date of January 13, 2028. We've had 12 rain delays during the entire project. The project's 45% complete. The contractor has worked 197,000 man-hours without any work injuries on the site, and work has begun on the 36-inch transmission main for Phase 1. And the project continues to move forward with Archer Western ahead of schedule and under budget with a strong contingency built in. On Public Works, completed resurfacing portion of paving projects on Anglin Road and Green Circle. They've been clearing and grubbing for the pickleball courts on Meridian Park. They've completed leveling and deep patch on Frost Road. Begin the first phase of merit evaluations for all their employees, like all the rest of the staff. Continued the box culvert on Dry Pond Road, and contractors have been milling and deep patching roads for the 2026 LMIG resurfacing projects A completed culvert has been done on Jug Road and on Youth Monroe Road. With all of that, all the other departments have been just accomplishing a long list of things. Registration in Parks and Rec is trending down slightly as we come into the next season. And as we're moving forward with all other things in planning, in April, we had 25 single family dwelling permits and a total of 146 permits issued. So far in May, we're trending at 21 single-family development permits and 111 permits overall. And the Department of Community Affairs approved your comprehensive plan update, and it will be presented to the Board of Commissioners as part of, for adoption in the June meeting as we move forward, as we move forward with everything. So great accomplishments across all departments, and everything is trending well on everything that they've been working on.
Thank you. Any questions on the county manager's report? Okay, the next item is repurposing administration portion of the old jail for department expansions. Liz, with Precision Planning, has been looking at this, coming up with ideas, talking to the department heads. We have been looking at freeing up space at Hammond Drive for the DA and juvenile court, but all the offices are taken. We got elections that's running out of room. We got HR that's totally out of room where they're at. We got 5 different departments that need additional space. So this is a look at space we already have. The space is belongs to the county. It's backed up by generators. It just needs updating. And the old part of the jail is so dilapidated, it's recommended it be demolished and tore down and hauled off. And I'll turn it over to Liz. I think she's got a slideshow and presentation for the board.
All right, I'll be brief. Liz Hudson of Precision Planning, and you've got a packet of what we have compiled. We were contracted back in March to do some preliminary design on the old jail building for feasibility to house the 6 departments the chairman just mentioned. So this presentation is just a brief summary of that. So what our services entailed was first space programming, meeting with representatives of each one of the 6 departments, talking about their current space needs and their projected future space needs up to 10 plus years. Looking at the existing building, developing existing building drawings, and then conceptual design for laying out each one of the 6 departments on the campus of the old jail, and then preparing a cost estimate for what it would take to do those renovations. So this is a summary of each one of the 6 departments: finance, HR, elections, EMA, fire administration, and EMS, in addition to common and support space that would be shared by all of those departments. So this is what we've projected as the 10-year needs for each one of those departments, and then a total of about 58,000 square feet, a lot of which, no, I wouldn't say a lot, probably 6,000 to 8,000 square feet of that is storage space that doesn't really need to be renovated. So the majority of the renovation project is about 50,000 square feet. So this is a rendering of the site with what we're projecting. The administrative portion of the old jail, we're looking at to house finance and HR. It's got an existing large lobby that can accommodate service windows for multiple departments, a deputy station in the middle. What we're planning for is shared conference spaces of a lot of different sizes that can be shared by these different departments. I guess I'll call it the new old jail section over in the back is where we were talking about putting elections. That was where visitation used to happen at the the new old jail. And then the day room areas and the cell areas, we're recommending just repurposing that for storage for elections. And then there is some lower level storage as well that can be utilized that we're not talking about spending any money on, but just having that available for storage. The work release building, which is about 5,000 square feet, is where we're recommending putting EMA. That would have an emergency operations center and staff and support space for EMA. So the campus really does lay out very well to allow for secure staff parking as well as public parking. So it actually, what we've programmed fits very well in the space. I don't know how well y'all can see this, but it is in your packet. This is a color-coded diagram of how each one of the departments would fit in the jail. Blue is finance, green is HR, red is fire, yellow is EMS, and the purple is the elections. And then you can see the white spaces are what we intend to be shared between departments. So there's 3 different sizes of large, medium, and small training rooms that can be shared.
And the gap in between the colors on the left and the purple on the right is the demolition area for one of the big reasons of why the jail was relocated.
That's right. That is the old jail, built back in the 80s. The 2 housing pods for that portion of the old jail are recommended to be demolished. And what that's going to do is allow us to have additional staff parking space, courtyard space for staff shared courtyard, some outdoor space, and then connectivity between the 2 parts of the campus. And then this is a quick layout for how EMA would fit in the work release building. And then just an idea of what we could do with the exterior of the building, not spending a lot of money, but just mainly freshening it up with paint, do some landscaping. We're looking at potentially doing a monument sign welcoming you to the government annex at the old jail. And then we've had preliminary cost estimates done for the different portions of the building, and we're looking at a safe number of about $21 million for these renovations. And keep in mind that the building it does have good bones. We're talking about saving the exterior walls, roof, foundations, but we do need to replace the HVAC and electrical systems throughout the campus, so that's a significant amount of that renovation cost. Site improvements, I think that number may be a little high since we're not really building anything new. We're really just doing demolition, and there'll probably be some repaving and some landscaping. The demolition of the old jail housing pods is estimated at $377,000.
That number almost surprised me based on the construction.
We thought it might be more.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, this is a estimate from the group that actually built the public safety complex.
Yes, one of the team members on that CMO.
And a lot of this work will be done, I perceive, by our facilities department, instead of contracting
We
it
can
out.
definitely do some. The amount of savings that'll be realized from that, I couldn't give an estimate on that now. This is preliminary.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't even really got down to the
We don't have
nitty-gritty
any-
with each department head yet.
Yeah, this very preliminary,
FF&E.
yeah.
That's right.
The other side of this is that, and what kind of spurred this discussion was questions about what the plans were for the old Sheriff's Department admin office site. And again, this isn't the use of the jail, this is the admin office site. The other part of that is that, and Chairman, I don't know if you brought it or not, is that we've received communications from the courts and the district attorney on additional space needs, and they're fully anticipating needing a additional courtroom. And additional office spaces for the district attorney. So you're almost seeing a more conversion of the entire Hammond Drive complex into a judicial center. And one of the ways, the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we vacate space in order to accommodate the space that the courts are going to be.
Well, we have moved the public defender from the antique jail next to the post office into Hammond. We have moved HR out of Hammond to make the DA additional space that he desperately needed. In your packet, you got a letter from the Alcovey Judicial Circuit on behalf of the judges, District Attorney's Office, and Public Defender's Office in support of moving forward with something like this. They desperately are going to need additional space in the very near future. 2 years ago, we looked at the possibility of building a separate admin building out at Hammond. That ended up being about $36 million for a brand-new building to accommodate basically what we can do here. And I think it's prudent for us to move forward and get more detail on the cost. We would not have to borrow this money. This money's in our general fund, uncommitted. Everything else is committed. We have about $21,300,000 uncommitted. So if Hank could save us a couple million, we would have plenty of. Oh, we would have, hang on a minute, I'll tell you exactly.
64.
How much remaining uncommitted funds?
He's got the sheet.
Well, I do have it here. Hang on, give me just a minute. Here it is. General fund balance at the end of the audit last year, ending fund balance was $84,575,000. Of the obligations against that, this board in 2019 voted to change the defined benefits program. That resulted in a charge to the county of $12,280,000, drawing 7% interest. Today, that obligation is $23,168,000 that will have to be paid at some time. The arbitrage on the bonds, $4,447,000. The employee vacation buyback that the board approved on 6/30/25 is $500,000. The public safety complex, which just got paid off that Kirkland referenced to, was $7.74 million. The county's going to have to back a $7,500,000 improvement to the water treatment plant that board voted to do in December. Then by our financial operating policy, we're to hold 2 months operating in reserve, which is $17 million. And then the sheriff and the merit pay, $541,599. And then the budget amendment last year, which is still on this budget, which we have to pay for out of the general fund. For the last sheriff's employees, $2,211,000. That leaves a fund balance of $21,430,940.70. That does not include interest that we've earned on the general fund balance.
And that 21 million is in excess of the mandated reserve, 2 months.
It's
Yes.
uncommitted, yes. So when you look at a big number like 84 million, they are commitments against it. And it's fiscal responsibility that this board maintains that fiscal policy and those commitments. But what we're looking at, we will have the money to do this project if the board so chooses to move forward. Otherwise, you're gonna have a 60,000 square foot vacant building in the middle of Monroe. And this, I think, is a good use to move forward and get more detailed plans and utilize space we already have at, 60% what it costs to build new. So, we don't need to vote on it tonight, but y'all need to discuss it among yourselves on how you want to move forward. We can, we have the department heads here involved. If you want to ask some questions now about their needs on space, we're not making up any needs for space. These departments need this space. And now that we have it available, we could bring it up to current code, current conditions, and have a very good complex out there.
2 quick questions, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. What do you anticipate doing with the current building where elections is and also the HR house, if this happens?
We would sell it.
Sell those?
Yeah.
And then what do you anticipate would be the,
Elections,
We're trying to sell the building next to the one we sold, the bank building.
right,
We own that.
Right.
Shane Short's working on that.
okay?
We're going to sell the historic jail next to the courthouse. There's acreage with it, and Shane's working on that. And then, once HR's moved out, we will sell
That building.
that building. And-
elections would end up,
And
would
we
free up
have
space for,
a couple people already interested in that building.
What did you say, John? I'm sorry.
elections would be freed up, and we would move facilities there.
To that building on
To
Spring
that
Street?
building, they could utilize the existing storage out back.
Okay.
And then that would
So keep
open
that
up,
building.
that would open up additional space at Hammond Drive. But elections would move over, there's two main factors there. Elections has a bunch of, equipment that has to be plugged in all the time, those voting machines, under strict guard, and that would suffice for where it is. But also it would create a repository. There's no storage in this county, so there's stuff stuck everywhere.
Okay.
And the rest of the area that was in purple, I think, would be utilized for storage to keep additional space needs in check.
Liz, did you say there's over 6,000 square foot of storage
60.
in this proposed?
There's probably more than that. That's just what's in the program.
Right.
Okay.
That doesn't include the 2 pods at the top right of the frame
Right.
that haven't been utilized yet.
That's right. Those are about 1,500 square feet apiece.
Start storing in that today, right?
You gotta get the plumbing out of there.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
toilets and you got cells and different things like that, so you couldn't just put stuff in there without it being prepared.
But if I'm understanding the numbers correctly, if we do this out of fund balance, we have no uncommitted funds left.
You'll have no uncommitted funds left. Now, the 17 million operating reserves
It's required,
it's not required, it's suggested.
yeah, which means
The
strongly.
Department of Revenue won't require you to do
Right, but we want to keep that minimum.
anything. We won't keep that, yes. And then the 7.5 million, I'll be bonding that for the water department, and that'll free that up. Right now, we gotta hold a ticket over it in case something happens there. Unfortunately, the arbitrage has got to go to the IRS. And the defined benefits, I've got that there because at some time, it'll have to start being paid.
Right.
It's growing. I hope the closing of the program and not adding new employees. I saw about a 500,000 tick down last year, so it may start working in our favor. But that's $23 million there. And we're earning 4% interest and they're charging us 7%. So we're losing 3% interest on that $23 million every year.
And what would be the time frame for this, if this was to happen?
It's all at your discretion.
I
mean,
have
as
no
far as-
idea on that. If we decide to move with it, I figure a year and a half, we could have it all done.
Okay.
And,
Your biggest bang is gonna be able to, if you do the demolition and you work on this in conjunction, but you know, you're in two different work areas. So, you know, part of the consideration could be do the demolition. We still, the areas that we demolish, we have to shore up one wall and the other wall. That's why I'm saying it may be beneficial to move forward altogether, but you could potentially even phase this project if that's a concern about the total, and you would want to break it out into two different phases.
Well, if you look at these floor plans, what I really like that you've done, Liz, like the Emergency Operations Center. This year with the ice storms and everything, I got to attend all those emergency operation meetings, and we didn't have enough room where we were at for all the emergency management people and everybody get together. This is 3 times the space that we had there. And then you get over for HR, you got a classroom the size of the Emergency Operations Center.
Currently,
And then you
HR
got
can't
2
do
other meeting
orientation in
rooms,
HR.
which we desperately need. So I like that part of it. Well,
This is one big repurposing project, I agree.
we're gonna have to make a decision to do it or not do it, and we're spending money with Liz right now. And we'll continue. I mean, we need to get a detailed plan that could be bid out to contractors, with the exception of what Hank thinks he can do. I'd like to brag on Hank. He's exceptional. He and his department are exceptional when they take on a project like this. The building where planning and development's at, I was gonna tear it down. It was awful. And Hank has turned it into a very, very efficient, nice building. So, what do y'all think? What do you think we ought to do?
I think this is a beautiful plan, and I think it is probably a much-needed use of the space, but I think we need to table the vote on proceeding until next month, so we have a little bit more time to digest what's in this proposal.
Well, that's fine. You want us to move forward with the planning?
I motion that we table the vote on the planning until next month.
I understand that. Oh, the planning's already been approved.
So I motion that we table the further discussion until next month, so we can digest what this is.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, we
Yeah.
bring it back up next month.
Yeah, I think we,
But allow Liz keep meeting with department heads and, because we've already agreed to pay her
Yeah.
to do that part.
that's fine.
We got a vote to table any vote till next month, so y'all can digest this, and a second, is that correct? Yes. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. We'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Thank you.
All right, the fun part of the meeting, planning and zoning. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Just a minute, Board, while I pull these cases up right quick. We're going to start with item 6.1. It's going to be land use LU 26-0083 and Z 26-0081. It's going to be a land use change from highway corridor to suburban and rezone 2.10 acres from R1 to A1 to have personal outside animals. The applicant owner is Isidro Miranda Gonzalez, property located at 935 Snip Dillard Road, map and parcel C177, parcel 30E, and this is going to be in District 4. There was some opposition, there were no opposition at the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission recommended approval as submitted.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to let the county attorney take over and open the public hearing. Where's Hank? He's behind. You guys just speak loud.
No problem. So I just want to remind everybody the public hearing procedures, when you come forward, please direct your comments to the board, state your name and address for the record. Each side will be given 10 minutes, so please try not to repeat the same things over and over so that your neighbor has time to address the board as well. We're going to start with the applicant and those in favor, followed by those in opposition. Any time not used by the applicant's side can be reserved for rebuttal. With that, we'll open the public hearing on the first case. The applicant can come forward and address the board.
Hello, my name is Anna, and this is my father, Isidro Miranda.
Okay, you want to tell us what you want to do? So the board.
Yes, so it would just be to rezone to A1 so he can have personal animals in his property, 2.1 acres, and the animals would be in the back.
Are there any questions for the applicant?
What kind of animals?
He would have a horse. A horse and a goat.
Horse and goat.
Yes.
Fenced, it'll be fenced.
Yes, more than half of the property is fenced. There's just an area he has to fence before he can get the animals.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone here in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
All right, thank y'all. All right, entertain a motion from the board.
I'd like to make a motion to approve as approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Passes. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Agenda item 6.2, it's a rezone Z 26-0085 of 7.12 acres from A2 to A for an animal rescue and a variance on the setbacks. The applicant owner is Lisa Cairo. Property is located at 5531 Hillview Drive. It's map and parcel C30-132, and it's in District 3. There was no opposition at the Planning Commission, and they recommended approval as submitted.
All right, we'll open the public hearing on this matter with the applicant. Like to come address the board. Please state your name and address.
My name is Lisa Cario, and my address is 5531 Hillview Drive in Oxford. For more than a decade, actually 12 years, this property has been used for the care and management of rescued farm and companion animals. It's a working agricultural and animal care property focused on long-term sanctuary stewardship and humane care. The animals living here are chickens, horses, ducks, cows, goats, pigs, pretty much any farm animal, dogs and cats. Many are elderly, disabled, abandoned, or with medical issues requiring ongoing care. The zoning is meant to better align the property's designation with the way the land is already being responsibly used, agricultural care, livestock management, and educational stewardship. The surrounding area, actually, from what I was told, was actually known as Little Farms, the next street over. And it's changed, and, you know, I'd like to keep this in line with what it historically been. And also, I would like to, no, okay. So anyway, I went ahead of everything. So I just also like to point out that there is an educational value. Visitors and volunteers learn about livestock care, animal behavior, land stewardship, and how to care for animals over their full lifetimes, because these animals, after all, arrived here because people didn't want to keep them. I mean, by and large, these were companion animals, you know, donkeys, horses. They're not production, most of them. And so that's what I would like to rezone. And also, there's a variance request on a setback. It's on my next to my neighbor's property. It's in a wooded area, and actually, I have some statements from my neighbors that live next to me on the different sides of me, and one of them is that neighbor that I'm requesting the setback from.
But they're okay with the setback request?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the woods in the back of their house, so.
What the setback is, it's currently required at 500 feet, and we're asking for 430 feet?
Yes, that's what.
And 311, okay, sorry.
And I would just like to continue to improve the infrastructure, fencing, and organization as resources allow. It's about preserving an existing agricultural and sanctuary use in a rural setting where that use is appropriate. I thank you for your time. Any questions? Or?
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone here in opposition that would like to speak? Then I will close the public hearing.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion from the
They're going to
commissioners
vote.
on this application.
Christie, so they've been using this the whole time for this purpose? Have they had any complaints?
We did have a complaint, and that's the result of her having to commit compliance.
What was that complaint? You remember?
An Airbnb and then an animal rescue. Because she was having people come and stay in there to help with the animal rescue, and it wasn't allowed.
Okay, so it won't be allowed in this?
No, she still can't have anybody come in, I mean, other than farmhand help
Okay.
during the day, but she can't have anybody stay in.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Thank you, ma'am.
Item agenda 6.3, we've got a land use change, conditional use and a rezone. So it's going to be LU 26-0100, CU 26-0092, and Z 26-0093. We're doing a land use change from village center to highway corridor, a conditional use for outside storage of commercial vehicles and for 3 diesel pumps, and a rezone from 3.21 acres on C8 parcel 6 from B2, A2 to B2 to expand the existing convenience store and to combine with parcel C8 6A, and a variance to reduce the transitional buffer from 50 foot to 10-foot and eliminate the 10-foot landscape strip along the road. And that's going to be along the road, for clarification, right there at the roundabout, in between the two green strips. That would be the 10-foot landscape buffer there to eliminate that. Applicant is Joade Vicini. Property owner is Sysam Loganville LLC. The property is located at 5400 Georgia Highway 20 and McCullers Road, and this is going to be in District 2. There was some opposition at the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission did recommend denial of the case.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. As you could tell, I'm not Junaid Varani, but he had an emergency and had to leave out of town this morning. So I've brought a couple of people with me to help present, considering he left this morning. So I'm got a little bit of things here, and we can go over it. And then if not, then if I don't have enough information, we'll ask to table it until Mr. Varani can get back in town. Like I said, he had a family emergency.
Would you please state your name for the
My
record?
name is Victoria Sullivan, and I am the Vice President of Welcome Foods.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Pull this up real quick. We are a convenience store owner, and we have over, 40 sites in the local Atlanta area, and we take very big pride on trying to take convenience stores that are older and convert them to something that the community can be proud of, and that is not, an eyesore within your community. So we have 40-plus sites active right now. We have 8 that are being built from the ground up in different places in the Atlanta area, and we have bought over 15 properties that are in distress that we are going to be renovating and changing over. We have different sides of our company. We have a fuel side where we deliver fuel to over 115 gas stations within the Georgia area, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina. We have all the fuel brands that go along with that. This site we're discussing is a BP at 5400. We have a Welcome's Foods kitchen that you can go in and order that will be in this station as well, that we're proposing to put a kitchen in for food from breakfast all the way through dinner time at about 8 o'clock. It will be shut down. Our network, we have tenants, national brands that we put within our sites. This site is proposed, if we can expand this station, that we're going to try to put a Dunkin' Donuts within. We have proposed a drive-through in this location if we can. And then we also have 2 other places that we could also do. We own a construction company, so most of this construction will be done in-house by our own staff and our own people. We have 2 trademark outside stations. This is our traditional look that we use too within the whole Atlanta area. So we have the traditional look, which is this here, and then we have a more modern look. And depending on zoning and permitting is on which way we go with our designs. Like I said, we have them all over the Atlanta area. This is within Canton. Here is our elevation plan that we use for most of our sites, depending on permitting and the design. We have, of course, ongoing projects in all these local areas that we are doing currently and being built and remodeled currently. So I'm going to kind of ask for my civil engineer to come up to kind of help me because, like I said, Mr. Varani isn't here. And I'm sure there will be questions more so for him on how this will look. We did hear some opposition at the last Planning Commission meeting, so we kind of went back to the drawing board, so to speak, and to fix some of the issues that we heard that were issues from the community. We were trying to make this more of a truck stop area and, with overnight parking and showers and things, but We kind of felt the kickback from that. So we went back to the drawing board. We've taken out the showers, and there will be no showers here. The parking will not be overnight parking. We will have 10 slots for truck parking so they can come in, eat, shop at convenience stores, but we are going to put a 2-hour time limit on that parking. So it will, and then we will be adding 4 diesel pumps so they can get in and out, but there will be no overnight parking and no showers. So that was a big thing that was, that we had heard. And then we have put in some buffers, but I'm going to let the civil engineer kind of discuss what those buffers are and the exact location of those, because he's a little bit more familiar than I am.
Good evening. My name's Bo Cone, 410 Sequoia Hills Lane, Tiger, Georgia. My company is Land Solution Associates. Been doing land planning, civil engineering for 35 years. The site is had some challenges in that Georgia DOT was proposing the traffic circle there at the intersection of Highway 20 and forget the side road, well, whatever it is. But anyway, so to get full access driveways for this development, the proposed full access roads had to be out on the perimeter of the property. And so being that this property is adjoining residential, that was your 50-foot buffer. So we had to encroach in on the buffers to be able to get the driveways in there so that we can meet DOT's spacing requirements between the traffic circle and the full access drives. And in the full access drives, we were proposing that on the southbound lanes of Highway 20, that there would be a left turn lane coming in. And then on the northbound side, after you come out of the traffic circle, there will be a deceleration lane to turn in to the right. And then on the side street there, it's the same situation. We'll have a left turn lane to turn in as you pass out of the traffic circle. So that was a majority, or I wouldn't say the majority of the buffer reduction requirement, but there on the front right-hand corner and the bottom left-hand corner, that kind of drove the reasoning for having to get the buffer reduction. The remaining portion of the buffer reduction is all the light green area there that there's no public sewer out on the site, and to service the proposed building and the restaurant with sanitary sewer service, which we have the soil studies done, and it's got good perk rate on these soils. We have to encroach in on the buffer to propose the primary septic field. Then we also, the state and health department requires you to reserve a replacement field in case your first field fails. So though we're showing that entire area will be cleared and for septic area, it's really just the primary field. So if you just kind of imagine, it's about half of the area is a primary field. The existing vegetation will remain on the remainder portion of it, and only if it has to be the primary has to be replaced, that we'll have to disturb that and clear it as well. But in lieu of the buffer reduction, we have proposed that we would put a 6-foot opaque fence along the perimeter of the property that adjoins the residential development, and we'll maintain a 10-foot undisturbed buffer. And we're now proposing another 10-foot of planted buffer, which will be planted in green giant arborvitaes, which, if you're familiar with those, they make a very dense screening area. Now the residential, which is mobile home park that's adjacent to us, is kind of uphill from the site. So between the proposed development is below it. So with the addition of the fencing and existing vegetation and the proposed vegetation, we feel like that the site is significantly screened from the neighbors next door. I'll just, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Is the location open 24 hours? Is that what you're proposing?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you said
It's currently open 24 hours, and we will continue 24 hours.
24 hours, okay. So the truckers, even in the middle of the night, they could come and park for 2 hours, and then they would have to leave. How are you going to police that? How would you propose?
I think he said that he was going to have he adds staff. At all our stores, we're never allowed to have less than 2 to 4 people on staff. So with this, he's going to add a staff member to make sure. So instead of 2, we'll have 3, along with, to help cleaning and things of that nature, to keep everything, you're adding 10 spots, you want to make sure everything outside stays clean as well.
So these are paid spots that they have to pay for 2 hours?
No, we're not paying. They're not going to be paid. They're just to be able to park in case after they fuel or before they fuel, that they can come in and shop at the convenience store or to eat if it's during the day.
So where's the 10 spots on the map?
Okay, so if we go, I think there's a bigger one here. All right. So if, right here on the back portion, you see where the greenery is? On the back portion, there's 6 slots here, and then 4 slots over to the side on the left.
Okay. And would this is not shown as a registered truck stop on any trucker's maps? It wouldn't show the truck stop?
No.
Christie, what's the required, is it 6-foot or 8-foot fence? 6 foot, even though it abuts residential property? Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant at this time? I think, Christie had a question for you guys.
Can you clarify the number of pumps? Because I think you mentioned 4 diesel pumps, but the applicant only applied for 3. I'm sorry.
It is 3, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry about that, it is 3.
Thank you. Is there anyone out there who would like to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? Please come forward now. Please state your name.
Good evening, my name's Robin Dill. I live at 833 Winding Grove Lane, and I'm speaking on behalf of the community and my neighbors. There's great concern about this expansion. Even though it's not billed as a truck stop, it sounds like it's going to be a truck stop because we're going to have trucks parking 24 hours, even though it's 2-hour time increments. They could be running the engines in the middle of the night or in the daytime. It's pollution, it's noise, and the mobile home community buffers right up next to this end of this green space that they're proposing. From another aspect, as we polled our neighbors, the big concern about a truck stop in this type of facility is sex trafficking of drugs. And when you have people coming in and you're parking for 2-hour time periods, lots of things can happen. It doesn't take 2 hours to shop at a convenience store. Another concern that we have is just the traffic. That traffic circle is going into a 2-lane rural road. A farm is across the street. There's a personal care home beyond that, and then you're coming into a whole residential area. And we're concerned just about the traffic of big rigs coming through that traffic circle, heading in front of us and not being able to get out. Thank you so much.
Hi, I am Mary McKay. I live at 792 Winding Grove Lane in Loganville, and I am the president of the Homeowners Association of Waverly Subdivision. And Ms. Dill made some of the points that I was going to make, so I'll try not to be repetitive. One thing I would like to point out is the air pollution. the exhaust from diesel, and this will be a greater volume of exhaust, leads to, it's proven that it leads to high associated health risks such as respiratory illnesses, chronic migraine headaches. It's even linked to increased leukemia risks and childhood cancer risks. This is according to various environmental studies and reports. Even children without any family history of asthma are more likely to develop asthma when they are exposed to these high volumes of diesel fumes and exhaust. It is also, one report says that elderly individuals with pre-existing respiratory or cardiovascular conditions and pregnant women are particularly vulnerable. In addition to diesel exhaust, there's a potential for the release of hazardous compounds like benzene from the storage tanks. This is an additional health concern. Clearly, the cons outweigh the pros to having a truck stop near us. Johns Hopkins University study says just a typical gas station has over 40 gallons of spillage that seeps through the concrete and has an adverse effect on streams, wetlands, wells, ponds, lakes, and other ground waters. The impact on our community, I feel, number one, our roads, the stress on our roads, the impact on our water system, the high traffic volume, more accidents, more crime, bringing more crime. And one of you asked who's going to police that 2-hour. So to me, that would also put more demands on our law enforcement and our EMS. Also, our safety concerns, accidents, increased crime, the human trafficking. I would like to speak to that. I know that Ms. Dill spoke to that, but I took a little excerpt off of the website of the National Human Trafficking Hotline website, and it says, due to their frequently remote locations and a transient customer base, truck stops are an ideal venue for traffickers seeking to profit from exploiting victims without interference or undue attention. Traffickers frequently move their victims from city to city to truck stops along the way. So we say no to this truck stop. We don't want it backing up to our community. And we really don't think that a 6-foot fence is good enough to keep people out that want to get in. And location, location, location. We all know what that means. And when we looked for our homes in Waverly, we found this little community nestled back here, not in the middle of the traffic, not with a truck stop in our backyard. And we don't want that. I don't think you want that for your home either. We were looking for a quiet, little, safe neighborhood for our family and for our children and our grandchildren. We weren't looking for a place for our children and grandchildren to get asthma and for our elderly people to become worsened condition of their respiratory issues. We weren't looking for a place for our children to develop childhood cancers and for people to get leukemia. No, I don't think anyone in this room is looking for a home like that. And so I think it will adversely affect our property values. So for this reason, for these things that I've stated here, I ask you respectfully that you would deny this application. And thank you for your time.
Hi, my name's Susan Mayer. I live at 6450 Dove Drive in Loganville. I'm sorry, I didn't know the other lady was going to speak, so I'll try and speak really quickly. I watched the planning and zoning meeting, but I was not here. One of the things that was mentioned there that this was that the diesel was much needed in the area. There's 2 miles down the road, there's 3 diesel pumps, 1 off-road diesel. I believe they already have 1 diesel pump at their location. So it's not in the middle of nowhere. There was a comment made by GDOT that they were not on board with the current plan. Have they received additional information from GDOT? If so, where is it? Is it in writing, or is it just a phone call that they had with someone? And who did they have the phone call with? And I know this isn't in any kind of order, and I'm sorry, I'm not a really good speaker.
You're doing fine.
I honestly really don't know why anybody would want this right there with that traffic circle. It's dangerous right now, isn't it? And I really wish one thing that all you guys would drive by, especially on these big rezones, so you can see the area and see exactly what it's like right there. It would help when you try to describe it. So I really would like to hear what GDOT has said. We've just had 2 robberies right there at Citgo and down at Jerry's Corner Store, breaking in for vape products. So I don't see it as something that we need in with just more crime coming in there. We've got it with the Dollar General. Now we're building another Dollar General. Highway 20, like I think Robin mentioned, it's a highway. It's a 2-lane road. It's not an interstate where trucks need to stop and, fuel up and get meals. It's dark, especially in the S-curve at night. We have practically no street lights down there. There is a mention, and I'm not an engineer, I can't read these plans for the roundabouts very well, but there is one part of it that says no trucks. So I don't know how that would fit in with what they propose there. These opaque fences that are going in, quite frankly, they're a joke. It's a chain link fence that they put green fabric over that rips and tears and blows in the wind and looks horrible. Sorry. I don't live in the mobile home park. I don't know anybody that lives there, and I know from several comments that that's looked down upon. But that's their homes. That's where they live. They have kids there. You wouldn't want this in your backyard or your front yard. It's summertime. Kids will be out playing. And that's McCullers Road. I don't think the gentleman knew what the street was. One other thing that I saw or heard from the planning was that, okay, I'm going to try to go really fast. I'm sorry, I didn't know she was going to speak. That when 8 to 10 miles, there were no restaurants. They already have a restaurant there, and I don't know which way they're coming. If they're coming from Rockdale County, that's where Rockdale's Board of Commissioners. That's not Walton County. You go 2 miles down the road, and you're in Loganville, and most of their retail and their fast food and restaurants are already in Loganville. They're already there, and I don't think they're going to franchise out 2 or 3 miles down the road and put another one in. Literally, almost every single one we already have. Okay, that's the best I could do that fast.
Thank you. We'll run past the 10 minutes, but the applicant gets to come and review.
My name is Amin Chagani, and I live in 1624 Chelsea Falls Lane, Suwanee, Georgia. And I'm the project manager of the Welcome Foods. As Vicky mentioned that the Junaid Virani, the applicant, is not here because of a family emergency. So he will not be here to just respond to all the concern of the community. So I would request to table this for this cycle, and we can come back and just answer all the concerns and questions of the community with detailed thing, like maybe we reduce the time of the truck stop to maybe 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever we can do to just make sure that the community is satisfied with this development. So I would kindly request if the Board of Commissioners and the chair, they can feel comfortable, so they can just table this for this cycle, and we will come back again next month.
Any questions from the board?
Sir, your project, you got, how many projects going in the state of Georgia right now, besides this one?
Almost 12.
Do all your projects have the diesel component and truck parking, or just a brand-new kind of project?
No, not all of them, and this is an existing gas station.
Right, so
This
why not drop the diesel component in the truck stop and just have a regular convenience store?
This station is already have a diesel pumps. So all these parkings that you are showing, there's only 10 parkings, and it's the reduced time is 2 hours if like Board of Commissioners and Chair will decide that nobody can park there for like more than maybe 15 minutes or 30 minutes as soon as they can come in and go out. There is no overnight parking, so everything that, all the decisions, the owner can just come and answer all these questions, and we can just work accordingly.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Then I guess we can close the public hearing and
Thank you for your comment.
entertain a motion from the board.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and I appreciate you guys, the public coming and revising and also the applicant revising. I've been on site, I drive by there all the time, twice a day. That's my route to work, and I think I've met with the gentleman you're referring to. I've walked the property, and I think I've asked pretty much every question I need to, so I'm ready to make a motion. I'm going to make a motion to go along with the Planning Commission and recommend denial of this case.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Commissioner Bradford. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, 6.4.
Thanks, I just wanted to clarify since that was such an old zoning.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just giving you a heads up before you got asked.
Chairman. 2-minute break. I gotta go to the restroom.
Christie?
Yes, sir.
We got some board members screaming. We're going to take a 5-minute break and bathroom break.
You know which ones it was when they get up and run?
Starting with
All right.
6.4.
6.4 is going to be a rezone 26-0096 of 74.79 acres of a parcel of 149.75 acres from R1 GS to R1 OSC, and to remove the previous zoning conditions on the 74.79 acres. Applicant is Baldpate General Contracting, LLC. Owner is Jersey Partner Holding, LLC. Property is located at 1360 Emmons Bridge Road. It's map in parcel C99, parcel 10. It's in District 5. Before I go into the Planning Commission recommendations, I'll go into a little bit of a back history on the parcel itself. In July of 2004, the board approved this 149.75 acres to R1 GS, which is R1 green space. And they conditioned this property with the dwellings shall have a minimum of 2,000 square feet of heated living space for 1 story, 2,500 square feet of living space for 2 story, exclusive of area within the basement. Provide a minimum of 50-foot front setback from the proposed right-of-way. 3 was all dwellings shall have side entry double-car garages. Rear entry garages will also be permitted. Number 4, homes located on the interior lot to be constructed with brick, stone, stucco, or wood on a minimum of 3 sides, with the balance of the homes being constructed of concrete-style siding, no vinyl siding. Homes located on lots along Emmons Bridge Road to be constructed with brick, stone, stucco, or wood on 4 sides. 6, all utilities shall be located underground. And 7, provide sidewalks along both sides of interior streets. At the Planning Commission, there were some opposition. The Planning Commission recommended approval with the following conditions. Number 1 was remove previous zoning conditions from 2004, and those are the ones that I read. 2, 1 nut-bearing tree on each lot. 3, stone and brick water table on 3 sides. Number 4, landscape and fence buffer at the entrance. Number 5, as many trees as possible to be left in the 50-foot buffer. And number 6, houses to be no less than 2,000 square foot above grade.
Yeah. It's okay. I got the old one. Good evening. I'm Andrea Gray, 300 East Church Street, Monroe, Georgia. This evening, I have the pleasure of representing Baldpate General Contracting in its request to rezone 74.79 acres on Ammons Bridge Road from R1 to R1 OSC for a residential development called Ammons Bridge. The property is located on Ammons Bridge Road, just east of HD 8th Road, north of Monroe Jersey Road, and west of Alcovey Station Road. The property is currently zoned R1, as seen here on the zoning map. It's 74.79 acres of a 149.76 acre tract. So you're likely wondering, what are you doing with the balance of that tract? And here's the answer. It's all in the floodplain. So the prior zoning had used it just to get to a number on the green space. We're taking it out because it's not usable, and we're reaching our green space percentages within the 74 acres on its own. The property is in the future land use character area, suburban. That is consistent with the current zoning and consistent with the zoning that we're requesting. Here's the site plan, which is small to see here. There's a larger one in your packet. We're proposing for 50 lots. 30% of this 74 acres will be open space. We'll have 50-foot buffers along the perimeter of the property on the sides. It'll be controlled by a homeowners association,
and will have very attractive entrance landscape and signage features along Ammons Bridge. Amenities on the property, we're going to include 2 pickleball courts, a gazebo nearby, and then a walking trail within parts of the green space, particularly around the feature lake. Road frontage-wise, on Ammons Bridge, we'll have a 25-foot landscaped strip there. There's a 100-foot non-buildable buffer as well. We did get asked by the Planning Commission, if there are trees there, don't tear them down. Work with what you have and supplement as needed to make sure that the full buffer is planted with screening trees. This is the site plan that was approved in 2004, 22 years ago, if you can believe that. But here you can see where they just left all the floodplain area as green space to meet their numbers, and then they squished all the lots together up against Ammons Bridge, creating very small lots and no amenity areas. So when you're comparing our development to the one that is currently zoned, we have 74 versus 149 acres. They had 72 lots, so you could go out today and you could build 72 homes on that property. But our revisions only have 50 lots. We've reduced that number. Our open space is greater, 30 versus 25. The lot sizes, their minimums were 0.66, which is consistent with the R1 OSC zoning. We really took a hard look at how the site lays out best, and using the topography and the layout, our lot sizes range between the 0.66 and 1.4 acres. On our development, the lake will be owned by the HOA and not just by 3 or 4 property owners. That way it will be better maintained and better to be able to be used with the walking trail by all the members of the community. The homes in the current zoning, the minimum was 2,000 square feet for 1 story, 25 for 2. This presentation says that we're proposing 1,800 square feet, but in the Planning Commission, we agreed to 2,000. So we are now up at the 2,000 mark, which is consistent with their 1-story numbers. Again, the prior plan has 37 acres of just unusable wetlands that the HOA would have to maintain, which is quite a bit, and no amenities to go with it. We, of course, are offering pickleball courts, the pavilion, and the walking trail. The exterior materials in the 2004 zoning are very 2004, right? Back in those days, it was brick, stone, stucco, or wood. Those were the days when fiber cement siding was just starting to take hold. Today, we're proposing the fiber cement siding with stone and brick accents, which is consistent with what today's market is. And 22 years later, it's a very durable, attractive material. So these were the prior conditions that Ms. Christie ran through. And again, we had asked that these be wiped clean and to start over with a clean slate, which the Planning Commission did recommend. We've got renderings here of what our properties or other houses that we've developed look like and what we intend to build in this development, which again, quality homes, fiber cement siding, and accents of stone and brick, and then the some people call it a knee wall or water table wall of brick or stone on all the houses. And so, again, we ask that you approve the rezoning from R1 to R1 OSC with the conditions as proposed by the Planning Commission, which was to wipe the slate clean from the prior conditions, and then 2,000 square foot minimum on the homes, that any buffers that are already wooded stay wooded, and we supplement from there. They also, I guess, they were fine with the siding as proposed and our buffers and right-of-way as proposed as well. So with that, we ask that you approve our zoning as approved by the Planning Commission.
I have a question. The 74.96 acres that's left that's in the floodplain, will that be under the homeowners association's control?
No, it's completely outside the development. It'll be maintained by my client who owns this property.
Yeah, but the county ends up with these tracts. People quit paying their taxes on them, and it's beginning to be a problem for Walton County. We've got hundreds of acres of abandoned floodplain that falls back on us to police, to keep hunters off of and everything. It's just a question. I mean, it happens all the time, but
Sure. Well, it'll be owned by my client, who is already a citizen of Walton County, builds all over Walton County. He of all people, I would not expect to abandon this property, and probably shouldn't say this, but he really likes to hunt. And so this might be a good property for that as well.
if it's abandoned to the county, they can archery hunt, but they cannot gun hunt.
Yes, sir.
So, that was my only question.
Looks like it'd be hard to even access, like from any of the main roads, because the remaining property's back there on the side, which I'm guessing he would leave himself an easement
That's
to be able to
correct.
access that property, correct?
Yes, sir, on the site plan, which hard to see here, but on that property boundary, and this doesn't work, there is, in the little white area, there's a 50-foot access easement, then there's a 50-foot buffer before you get to the lot. So really, there's a 100.
It's not locked away, it's actually got
Correct,
access.
yes, it does have access.
Is any of that acreage buildable at all?
It's in the floodplain, so not really. Well, I guess there's a tiny part down there to the far southeastern corner, potentially.
So the important parts are, what are we gonna stock the pond with? What kind of fish will be in there? I'm kidding.
So Andrew, explain something to me, because very seldom do developers come and say, give me less lots than what I'm asking, that I can build now. So explain to me why he can build 72 now, but he wants to go to 50, more green space. So what's the purpose of the rezoning? Explain to me why he wants to give lots back. That's unusual.
Well, he wants to build lots and houses of higher value, so he actually cares about the product that he puts in the ground here. So he sees better value in laying the lots out to fit the land and to providing amenities within the green space. So it's to provide a better product, which will in turn give him a better return on his investment, rather than throwing 72 houses together, as close as you can get them, no amenities, and then just hope for the best.
So he couldn't do the 72 or 50 houses on the current zoning right now, just relay it out compared to the old site plan?
No,
Without the
because
rezone?
it's the acreage that's an issue, it's the conditions that were an issue, and so we opted to just do a total clean slate, rezone it with our plan.
So what about sidewalks? No sidewalks?
Those are in the ordinance, so we would have to abide by current ordinances in Walton County, and those are already required in R1 OSC.
And the setbacks right now, the old condition was 50
They're
set foot?
also still required, we have to meet all of those.
Okay. So some of the conditions are already in code, already addressed by the code?
Yes, sir.
Still not understanding giving lots back, but okay, I guess. I mean, it's just very rare that,
Is it okay to love Walton County?
yeah, it is, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, any other questions from the board right now? Thank you. Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this request? Anyone here would like to speak in opposition?
I'm Kevin Burrell. I live at 1550 Ammons Bridge Road. I'm butt up right to this property. And I've spoken with quite a few people on Ammons Bridge Road as well. And to save everybody time, I'm the nominated spokesperson for that. We're not here to oppose the neighborhood. We knew when we purchased close to this that it was already zoned for a neighborhood, so we expected one to come in. But the rezone opened it up for negotiations, so here we are. The houses that were shown, I'm asking that we build those houses there, they build those houses there with side entry garages, 2-car garages, and give me a second here. And for the 50-foot buffer, there's a 100-foot buffer that was approved by the Planning Commission, if I ain't mistaken, on the front, on Ammons Bridge, the roadside, with current trees in place. And then I asked for 100 on property lines, and I'm going to ask for that again. And with the current trees in place, there's a lot of old hardwoods, especially my property and the neighboring property. I'm not familiar with the address, but The neighboring property that butts up to it, it also has like a lot of old hardwood trees there as well. And so I'm going to ask for the 100-foot buffer between the properties with the existing trees staying in place, side entry garages, and like if they're asking for a clean slate and showing these houses, are these the houses that are getting built? That's my question. And if they're not, then what are the proposed homes getting built in there? Not the siding, not something like that. It says Craftsman Style Homes and it presented these homes. I want to know that if that's going to be the homes built in that neighborhood or not. And who's going to be building the homes? That's my next question, is who's going to be building those homes in that neighborhood? Or are they going to get sold off and another builder going to come in? And, you know, if you build quality homes, that's fantastic. But if their lots are sold, we don't know what kind of homes are getting put in beside us. So that's it. I'm going to yield out on that.
Thank you.
Unless you got any questions for me.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here would like to speak in opposition?
Thank you. I appreciate Mr. Burrell sharing his thoughts on our development. I will say, I'm not sure if you can see where his property is, but it's, can you see my mouse move at all? No. Anyway, it's to the top left of our property there and kind of the cutout area. And the wording where it says, you know, who owns the property is about where his house is. So when I measure that from his house to our first lot, it's about 500 feet, which is about, I don't know, football field and a half, if you will. So we've got a good bit of buffer there, but also just baked into our plan is a 100-foot buffer, really, because there's 50 feet for the access right of way, and then there's 50 feet for the undisturbed buffer. So with our new plan, he really does have 100 feet there, plus the distance from his house, versus the current plan, which only has 50. So he's coming out a little bit better here on our plan, and so we would like to stick with it as drawn here. The buffers on the right-hand side are the same as the existing plan, the 50 feet to the other adjoining property owners, and then, as he mentioned, a 100-foot buffer up against Ammons Bridge Road. Let's see. The houses that we did show are representative renderings. I cannot guarantee that those exact homes would be built. As you know, things kind of develop over time as you work with the builder and you decide which plans, but what we're committing to is that look, right? The hardy plank siding with a mix of stone and brick accents and the water table on three sides of those homes. We're committing to a size. We're committing to 2,000 square foot minimum on those homes. So again, those are representative renderings of buildings that my client has done and consistent with what we're agreeing to do as far as aesthetics on these homes. We haven't inked a contract with a builder just yet, but we anticipate, based on discussions, that it will be a local builder that you're familiar with that does a great job here in Walton County. With that, I know we mentioned side entry garages, but based on the redesign here, we prefer not to commit to that. We've got to really look hard at each and every individual lot as we do final design for that portion. And with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have.
So you said not commit to side entry. That means the whole subdivision may be front entry? What are you saying about side entry? Explain that. What do you mean by that?
We asked that that not be included as a condition.
So you're saying the whole subdivision could be front entry? Or are you doing a portion of front entry? What are you saying? Explain what that means.
Right. We'd ask that it not be a condition of the zoning. We do intend to look at the lots and determine how many we could. I mean, we're not opposed to doing side entry. We intend to do some side entry, but we just don't want to be locked into another zoning condition. Sure.
Daniel Johnson, 137 Main Street, Jersey. There's 35 of the lots that are going to be side entry roughly, and there's 15 that are probably going to be front entry because of the topo of this subdivision. So that's about the numbers that we worked with the engineer this morning when I pulled it up to check, but we're still making some changes. So there's definitely gonna be at least 35 side entry homes in this subdivision, for sure. All right. And to answer
Any other questions?
About the one, so the
To
ones
answer
on,
your question earlier, why the lots wouldn't work, it's because this is a septic subdivision. That drawing they made, it's just not, wasn't worth the paper it was written on.
so the 35 would, Ammons Bridge, would they be the one side entry or they be rear entry? I mean, front entry? The ones
what
on
now?
Ammons Bridge. The ones
35
on,
side, 35 side.
no, the ones on Ammons Bridge that face Ammons Bridge, would they be,
Those are all coming in. Those are all the backs to Amherst.
that's the back side, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we could have done that, and I could have put a bunch of road lots here and then ran the subdivision in, but we're trying to get away from the road lots in the county and just make this work as a full R1 OSC with, this is a subdivision we know that holds its value and sells good.
What's the projection, and you may not have them yet because it's kind of early out, but the closing date for your, like, if this gets approved tonight, projected out, what's your anticipated or hopeful initial closing date, and how long do you expect before the development is complete?
We'll try to start this development the first of the year.
And how long do you think it'll take it to build out?
You know, that's economy driven, but it's normally 2 or 3 houses a month, 2.5 a month. So you kind of figure that time. It's normally 2.5 to 3 years on something like this. If we get through this in 3 years, you're doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got a question from Christie. The subdivision on 83 that happened many years ago, that we were told one thing by the developer and the builder, and I think it changed over time. What do we have in place that can stop that from happening? I hate to bring out a subdivision, but that, everybody knows what I'm talking about on 83. We were told one thing by the developer, and I think, I may be wrong, but something else was built on that. So do we have any,
Out by the sewer plant.
yeah, right down 83 in
left.
Laboon Road? They end up with the no overhang houses that I think we were told one thing, and then something else was actually built there from what we were told.
Yeah, so basically, there's provisions in the ordinance under the zoning that prevents cookie-style, same house,
Your architectural requirements have greatly been enhanced
So
since
that
then.
would prevent that from happening going
Yes.
forward?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
yes. So those are requirements in there.
Okay.
And that's
Are
the water
you-
table and the type of materials that they're actually
And
agreeing.
specifically the overhang on the
And
sides.
your overhangs,
Yeah.
correct.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've improved our codes quite a bit in the last 5
To
years.
see what wood and stucco would do to sales.
And
Are there any further questions?
I'll say this real quick on these plans. These plans are about 95% done. You know, if this gets approved, it will get submitted in the next couple weeks of exactly what you see for an LDP permit. So there's not gonna be any drastic changes from what you see now to what's here. We're almost finished with these plans, so it's a lot more work done into this than most.
I have a quick question. Did I hear that there's a requirement for a nut tree on each lot?
Can I speak to that, Mayor? I mean, Commissioner? Let me and Christie both maybe tag team this. Several months ago, out of confusion and referring to different types of trees and trying to get into that planning scheme, we proposed and we worked with the University of Georgia and the county extension agent to develop a tree planting list. If there is tree requirements, as long as they're following plantings that are included on the UGA and the extension agent who's trained to do this, tree planting list, they would be able to move forward, and any condition that you had could simply refer to the pre-approved list. That, we brought that back before you, you agreed, and we moved forward with taking that before the Planning Commission. When it got to the Planning Commission, that's where this nut tree discussion tangent kind of took place. And then the condition, before that has ever come back before the commission, that was added as a condition by the Planning Commission on this project. I believe next month we're in line to bring that back before you, and you'll have two options. One, go with the University of Georgia pre-approved list that was put together by Joel from the Extension Office, and in conjunction with Christie, or take the additional option of including this other discussion about nut trees, and then who's going to go out and check the nut trees and who's going to police the nut trees and those type things.
Well, let's think about the homeowner. A homeowner has nut trees. I mean, I feel like that's gonna create a lot of volunteer nut trees and a lot of maintenance.
I mean, there's
workers.
15 different kind of oaks that produce nuts.
Actually, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's only amendment tonight, so you'd be approving a condition before you ever approve the amendment. So, you know,
Does anybody know what the root structure of like nut trees is? How invasive is it?
There's
Is
so
it?
many nut trees that,
yeah,
like
it's
that's
it's
a
a
little
pretty
broad.
it's a pretty broad topic, but at the same time,
yeah, it's very broad.
depending upon canopy, depending upon what type of things you want to fall in your yard,
Okay.
and different things like that,
I have oak
you've got quite a few potential conflicts there by mandating nut trees.
I'm gonna say if you plant live oak trees, you should put it in the covenants of your association. You're gonna have dead spots where grass won't grow.
Well, nut trees is sometimes, not always, an addition that is welcome. Squirrels can be,
No joke. I have a whole bunch
pests.
of oak trees and I have no grass.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this was
They just
to
asked-
encourage squirrels.
They just asked if we would plant a nut tree, and I said yes. So that's how it worked out on our end.
Well, I think about the homeowners. I think about the end user.
My recommendation on both this one and on your future thing that you're about to vote on in a few minutes about your tree approved list is that you have the condition that it be a tree from the approved planting list from UGA and the Extension Service, rather than mandate what type of specific tree that is.
And if I could make one comment, when we get to that amendment about the tree listing, they are nut trees in that listing. It's just not, it wouldn't be a requirement unless y'all made it a requirement.
that's exactly right. I never like require particular species.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack.
Anyway, is any other questions?
Thank you for the
at this
clarification about
moment?
the
We need to be
nuts.
moving on. Close the public hearing, entertain a motion on this rezone request. I like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Know what?
When you say no vinyl, I'm just asking for clarification. When you say no vinyl at all, do you mean like no vinyl fencing, no vinyl mailboxes, no vinyl, like mailbox place? Thank you. Just
I think we already have that part of the code.
Yeah, that's a code
We
requirement.
don't have to make that a condition. We have done away with vinyl. All right, we got a motion, we need a second. Huh? Amend your motion, removing the vinyl comment, because it's already taken.
Concrete porch, what are you saying? Is that something you guys are willing,
100 square foot of porch on front and back.
of every house?
All right. All right, we have a motion, we don't have a second yet.
Is that like a dick?
You got everything you need? No nuts, but porch.
He's gonna die from a lack of a second.
I second.
All right, we got a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I don't oppose, I approve. I'm trying to make sure children get home, I'm sorry, y'all. I approve, I didn't vote, I approve, I don't deny,
I'm
I'm
abstain-
sorry.
Abstain. And the reason I'm abstaining is sometimes I do work for Ball Pete, and I don't want nobody to say that I'm not.
All right, Commissioner Shellnut's abstaining because he's been known to do work for the developer. And is everybody else a yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have amendments to the Walton County Land Development Ordinance as per your amendment sheet. One of the most important ones of these is the second coat of asphalt in our subdivisions. We've been having problems requiring, back during the recession, we had builders go bankrupt and walk away from subdivisions, and county had to apply the second coat of asphalt. And it cost taxpayers a good bit of money. The bonds they posted were no good, but times are a whole lot better now, and requiring both coats to be put down before they get a building permit. The concrete trucks are tearing up our streets. And we're going to put go back to the old rule of first coat, issue permits, and when they're about 75% complete, require the second coat to go in. That way it preserves our county roads because they're going to deed them to us. And any questions on the other? The sheet was handed out. Y'all got any questions on this?
We're gonna require a different kind of bond this time that doesn't get taken from us by the federal
Well, what is allowed now are CDs pledged, which is cash, or a credited bonding company.
So we don't have to worry about losing it like we did.
You never know what the economy's going to do. I've seen banks go belly up. I've seen financial institutions go belly up. Even the CD's only insured to a certain amount, and if the job is more than that amount, you could lose part of it.
So Chairman, the verbiage that we do have in here is a performance cash bond.
Right.
So,
Which is a whole lot better than what we had before.
Right.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Sir? Oh, we got to have a public hearing. All right, we're going to talk about nut trees. All right, we'll open up public hearing on the amendments to the Walton County. All right, do it. I'm getting tired.
all right, Amendment 1 is going to be correcting error in verbiage in Section 10-2-190C. Just correcting the verbiage in that, and in the utility
Do
purpose.
we have to hold a public hearing on each one of them?
I think if she'll give a summary of all the changes, then we can have a public hearing on
On what they want to speak on? All right.
Amendment 2 is also correcting an error in the verbiage. Article 4, Part 4-2, D, rear yard. Article 8 is permits and final plat procedure. It's a development of regional impact. We're just updating the DIR, or the development or regional impact. Or Amendment 4 is the general criteria for determining the species of trees. We're taking the verbiage of species out and replacing it with, if you choose to approve the tree ordinance, replacing it with that. Amendment 5 is permits and final plat procedures. That's adding the performance bond where a developer has the option to top the residential or commercial street subdivision streets, or submit a performance cash bond to allow for topping out once 80% of the houses or building on the streets have been built and the development is completed, or 18 months from the recording date, whichever occurs first. And then we are removing 1 year, because we had 1 year, 18 months, we're just keeping it at 18 months. Amendment 6 is in Article 12 is to add the tree ordinance table. that provides all the trees that would be approved in Walton County, and the developer or anybody condition it can just say per the Walton County tree ordinance. Amendment 7 is amending the fee schedule to add 6 fees that were left off of the previous schedule that was approved in August of '25. Residential minimum fee of $75. An accessory building smaller than 500, it's either a flat $75 or 20 cents a square foot. Construction office trailers at 25 cents a square foot. Utility permits at 100. Public notice sign fee of 100. And then legal fees for his newspaper ads. Whatever the newspaper charges us, that's what we would in turn charge the applicant. And then permit cards, $5. Here, there was no opposition from the Planning Commission. Only one was the tree ordinance. They would like to see a nut-bearing tree on that.
Okay, we'll open a public hearing on the adoption of these ordinances amendment data sheet. Anyone here want to talk about any of these items? No, we'll close the public hearing. Close the hearing and entertain a motion from the commissioners. Motion to approve.
Second.
I would like to amend it and then go with the original. I would like to give the developers and the builders the opportunity to select the trees and not require a nut tree on each lot. I think just to reference the original list.
No nut-bearing tree.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you got a resolution, capital improvements, element annual update.
Yes, so the first meeting was held on April the 14th to 26th to consider a resolution transmitting a draft for the capital improvement element for the 2026 annual update report relating to the county's impact fee program. So this is just the final documents to get it approved and be sent to the DCA.
So they can sign off
can
on the
sign off
new
on it as
impact
well.
fee schedules
sir.
and stuff. We got a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We got a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Sheriff,
Okay, on the first one, we're asking for acceptance of a new agreement with InDigital Encore, which is a backup and disaster recovery phone for phones for E911. And to be effective like July 1 for the new.
does anybody have any questions on this? This is 911 backup and disaster recovery phones.
Oh, yes.
Per usual, I'd like for y'all to approve that subject to my final review and approval, because there's some language that we're gonna need to clean up. All right, any of these agreements need to be approved subject to legal, we got a motion?
Second?
We got a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Software agreement.
Yeah, we're requesting acceptance of WO Industries LLC doing business as Duty Hub software agreement. This will be effective July 1 as well, and it's going to replace a system that we're already using, but we're going to be terminating that one. And this is, of course, pending county.
This is a continuing service agreement.
It's going to be a new company.
New company.
We're going to discontinue the one we're using.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve 'cause pending legal review.
All right, we got a motion? Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have the administrative consent agenda, which includes your minutes, the purchases of 25,000 or more, surplus, ratifications of actions taken by the Walton County Water and Sewer Authority, new ones that we don't generally see. We got Walton County Water Department charge-offs on bills they could not collect. Also, uncollectible property taxes amounts in there. lease renewal, State Properties Commission, Department of Human Services, and a 4-acre land donation from a citizen to the county.
On that land donation, I'll put together a deed for that and get the landowner to sign once y'all.
Once we approve it, okay. Are there any questions? Anybody want to take any one thing out, or you want to make a motion to approve the administrative consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, we have a recommendation. We bid out a water rate study for Morris's department, and they're recommending the acceptance of Spiegler Group out of Atlanta. They were the low bidder. SHPIGLER. I'm having trouble with some of these words. Anyway, the bid was $40,000. This will give Morris's department hands-on information as to what other departments are charging for the same services, rates, and will enable him to more effectively run his department. It'll come out of the Water Enterprise Fund.
Yes, sir, every bit of it.
So the stakeholders of the water department will be paying for this. We just have to approve anything they do. Yeah, let him come up if you got any questions.
This rate study will take into account our anticipated costs also with the new water plant, the transmission mains, the additional debt with all that. So this will take this in. Our last rate increase was November 2021, and we've absorbed several rate increases from our wholesale suppliers since then. As a matter of fact, one of them doubled the rate this past year on us. So we've got to look at all that as well as fees. But the biggest part of this study, and one reason it's 40,000 versus 10 or 15,000, is taking into account the next 5-10 years on costs that will be running with the new plant.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, it's time for public comment. We had 2 people sign up. Is Emily Murphy in the audience? I understand that. Troy
Sorry.
Tobler? Please have 3-minute public comment.
My name is Troy Tobler, and I live at 1188 PJ East Road in Covington. No telling what I'm going to say. It's been a long night for everybody. But, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, a lot of talk about the budget earlier tonight, and rightfully so. I hope you guys get it right. I don't want any huge surprises come November as a taxpayer with millage rates. But I understand we have a full-time chairman, and we have 6 part-time commissioners, and y'all got a lot to do. And the part-time commissioners, y'all don't get paid a ton, and you got other things you got to do. So I'd like to propose an idea to the Board of Commissioners, and it's not a new idea, but something I'd like for you to consider, and that is, in some form, fashion, citizen participation in the budgetary process. This is not a new idea. It's called participatory budgeting, and there is plenty of research on this. I just wanted to mention that studies that have been done show to date how citizen involvement in budgeting affects transparency, accountability, fiscal responsibility, and public trust. There are several advantages to public budgeting, including higher public trust in local leaders rises significantly. There is better resource matching as direct feedback ensures tax dollars address real ground level infrastructure concerns and community needs. And there's an increased fiscal realism. And what I mean by that is that when residents actively participate in the process in balancing a budget, they better understand the necessity of tax increases and service reductions. This is not a new idea. Gwinnett County is one, and I'm not a huge fan of Gwinnett County. I worked for them for 18 years while I lived here. But one thing I do think they have right is I like their budgetary review committee with the citizens. It's called the Citizens Budget Review Committee, and I've been a part of that process in the past. And it makes the departments accountable for what they need, and it separates the needs and the wants, and the citizens get involved in the process. But also, Athens-Clarke County uses a hybrid budget committee. Augusta-Richmond County is actively pursuing a Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. Douglas County recently formulated resolutions to create such an oversight committee. In Rockdale County, our neighbor, employs a Citizens Commission for best use of taxpayers' dollars. All I'm simply asking you is to give that thought give that idea some thought. In some cases, it probably seems like we're trying to build 27 budgets using 1950s methods. And you have a lot of talented citizens, a lot of smart citizens that would love to be involved with the process. It would also it wouldn't be us versus them, the citizens versus the commissioners, or the commissioners versus the people. If you allow the people to have a voice in that, and it's structured in a productive way, then it's a win-win. And so I just wanted to throw that idea out there as something for consideration. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Thank you for that suggestion.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any announcements?
I forgot to thank the commissioners that served on the Budget Committee earlier, so I want to thank y'all for the time that y'all put into that, because I know it was a very, very thoughtful, judicious process that y'all went through, so thank you.
Any other announcements? There is no need for executive session, so I will entertain the motion we all love. You move to adjourn? I didn't hear the
motion to
part.
adjourn.
Thank you.